Welcome back to another edition of Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. We got a jam-packed show for you. The Big 12 making moves. It looks like Colorado will indeed be the newest member rejoining the Big 12. We'll get into that discussion. Also, Pro Football Focus listing the best player, at least their best player, they believe, on every team in the Big 12. We'll get into that. Also, the teams that traveled the most in the Big 12. The Rangers, they get a big win. Had to make up for those two losses to start the series versus the Astros. Rangers blow out the Astros in Game 3. We'll talk about that. Rob Manfred, to a lot of folks' discontent. He is re-signed to an extension as the commissioner of Major League Baseball. The Shohei Ohtani trade reportedly is off the table. We'll get into that. Also, Sean Payton taking shots at Nathaniel Hackett. It is a beautiful thing. The NBAification of the NFL continues because they getting petty, and we'll cover it. Also, the Aaron Rodgers pay cut that he took. Also, Dalvin Cook visiting with the Jets. We'll get into some Cowboys discussion as well. Jim Irsay making a controversial statement that probably upset his starting running back. All of that and more. Before we do, let's introduce you to the rest of the crew. He was a second-round pick for the Montreal Expos, but a first-round pick for the Austin Radio Network. He originally committed to the University of Texas, but it's out to forego the 40 acres to chase his dream and the cheese. Pimping ain't easy, but for him it's a breeze. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Hardball Harge. What's going on, brother?
What it do? A new theme Thursday. I'm always excited for this because you never know which direction it's going to go. My man Patrick Davis does a great job of getting it going on, as always. Another man that gets it going on and sits across from me every single day. He hails from H-Town with the Get Down. He's a lifetime Longhorn and a proud card-carrying member of DBU. Legendary lifetime and now College Football Hall of Fame Longhorn Derek Johnson said he was the best cover corner he had ever seen. He's a former NFL DB that still has that passion for film study, but he's not a fan of white condiments. But, of course, he is a fan of you, the listeners. My man and yours, Rod Babers.
I appreciate that intro as always. I'm going to miss that intro, by the way.
No doubt.
But let's not waste any time introducing the real MVP, one of the hardest working members of the ARN family. He's got a hustler spirit, period. We don't know what he's paid. We're pretty damn sure he's underpaid, and he's the ideal now. It's Patrick Davis, y'all. What's going on, Patrick?
Not as excited about baseball today. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, there you go. I said that yesterday. I was like, there's no way the Rangers get swept. No. I wouldn't be that cocky and arrogant to think the Rangers are going to get swept. They did not. They won in a very convincing fashion over the Astros, left no doubt. And we got some sound. And it was, once again, controversy. This is a great rivalry right now. It is.
I love every second of this. I love every second of this. This is what it's all about. Yeah. And the good thing about it, and Patrick and I were talking about it a little while ago, I said the biggest thing for me is that now Texas actually has a, no pun intended, fighting chance. This is what it's about, because you think about the dominance that the Houston Astros have had throughout this recent time getting back to the AL and everything that's involved with it.
In the last 6 years or so.
Yeah, they've been really getting after it, and every time they play them, it's pretty much, okay, well, this is another team on our schedule. Let's get it done. Championships and all that stuff. Well, now the Rangers are like, hold up, man. We trying to do something. Yes.
Yeah, we tired of this,
You can't bully us no more. I can't come in here every day and you trying to, what's in them pockets? What's in your pockets?
Debo me.
Yeah, you can't
Debo me.
Yo, not no more.
Tuck my chain every time.
Exactly.
Because I see the Astros coming around.
Exactly. So I'm excited about it. I know last night was one of those games where everybody was like, I can't believe it. You know, if you're an Astros fan, you're pissed. If you're a Ranger fan, you're happy. You're like, at least we won that one. You know, we still got 2 games on them. But now you're looking at it and saying, all right, I can't wait to see them play each other again, because the energy in the building is going to be electric all the time.
Just feels like playoff atmosphere every time they meet now, since both of them are contenders.
No doubt.
That's what it's all about.
No doubt.
Congrats to the Rangers on winning that one. That was a big win. It was a statement win.
It was.
They were upset about the way things had gone, and you had benches clearing. That's always fun.
Which was okay, but nobody needed to get thrown out. Nobody needed to be ejected from the game. No punches were thrown. No, it was just part of it. No warnings were given. Those types of things is where, this is where my old school mentality comes in. You got to let the players work it out. And again, Patrick and I were talking about this, and I said the difference for me was it's the big brother the little brother finally standing up and
No
saying,
doubt.
man, I ain't doing this no more. And for them, it was one of those moments. Now, there were jabs that were being thrown verbally, but unless somebody spoke out of context.
Unless you saw
Yeah.
somebody being aggressively
Yeah.
trying to contact another person, that was it. It was just trash talk.
It was just trash talk. Nobody came out, and even the managers, they weren't even in each other's face.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
for them to throw them out, when they threw those guys out, I was like, what are we doing? Like, where are we at in baseball now? You know, Keith Moreland and Craig Way were sitting in here today. And by the way,
Big Red.
go listen to that, because I was in my car and I was getting mad because I was getting phone calls because I wanted to listen to Craig Way and Keith Moreland talk about baseball, because that's me. That's my energy right there. And the fact of the matter is, when Keith was playing, you could slide into second base and take the second baseman all the way into left field if you slide in to break up a double play. Nowadays, you can't even argue. You can't even have a discrepancy at home plate over something. That was the part that really, I was like, that wasn't good for me because of that.
Yeah.
Because there were no punches thrown.
I agree.
Yeah.
I don't know why that was it didn't seem like that was a big deal to me. It just seemed it made the game a little bit more intriguing.
Yeah.
The matchup.
No doubt.
You can tell there's angst. There's general, authentic angst between the two teams. They
love
don't
it.
like each
They
other.
do not like each other.
Like, it ain't something that's manufactured. No, they don't like each other.
Two
And
different cities, too.
That is,
you know?
that's just, oh, man.
Yeah.
Well, it gets to the root of there is a Houston-Dallas rivalry.
Yep.
The two cities really don't care for one another either.
No doubt. No doubt.
And I'm from H-Town. Not saying I don't like Dallas folks. I'm just saying, like, the cities, there's always been a rivalry. One of the ways it materializes is in sports.
Yep.
But there's a rivalry in a lot of different things between those two cities. So I think it's really cool. All right, anyway, we'll get to that discussion coming up next segment. We'll talk some baseball, and I'll force Harge to give Rob Manfred some props. He's going to have to, because now he's been signed to an extension, and he does not like Rob Manfred. All right, let's talk about Colorado, gentlemen. And it seems to be right now almost a 90-something% chance that Colorado will be indeed joining the Big 12. And they are going to when Texas and Oklahoma leave in 2024. That'll make them the 13th team right now. But there's even talk that they want to bring in a companion with Colorado of sorts. And also, they potentially could go up to 16 teams.
Mm-hmm. And that was this conversation we left yesterday. We left that conversation saying they were thinking about bringing some other teams. We talked about a UConn. We were mentioning Arizona or Arizona State. Just a whole look at markets. Where am I going to get the best bang for my buck in the market? We talked about Yormark and how he's a visionary. He's been in all these different situations, Rock Nation. He understands what it's like to have those TVs in certain markets in your area. And if you can bring in a team like not Houston, but Colorado, somebody out the Pac-12, you're getting all time zones. And the fact that they were talking about UConn. And UConn's football team, as I said yesterday, with Jim Mora Jr. as the head coach, they are headed in a different direction than what they were with the previous regime. Jim Mora is winning games. So you're looking at it that way, and you got to look at the basketball team as well. There's a lot that you can go and you can get all coasts covered when you're looking at the Big 12.
Here is some sound from Brett McMurphy. He was on Sirius XM, college football Sirius XM, and he was talking about what his sources have told him about the intentions of the Big 12. All right, so there you go. They're going to get to an even number, and I'm with you, Harge. I think for the Big 12 now, they're looking at Utah because Utah makes a lot of sense as a rival partner for BYU.
Yep.
And with Colorado coming in now, you want two other schools that also can be companion pieces, and that looks like Arizona and Arizona State makes sense. I'm not saying they can't go take Arizona and say, you know what, Arizona State, we're going to do you like Oklahoma did Oklahoma State, man.
Right.
That's done. I mean, that's old school thinking. We want UConn. UConn actually is more valuable in our opinion in terms of the reach and the really the footprint of the brand overall, and we like the basketball program, that kind of thing. Like I'm not taking that out of the realm of possibility, but I think right now, just football wise, taking, and like I said, the basketball thing we know is real. There's a lot of talk that Brett Yormark wants basketball only partners in the Big 12.
Right.
And UConn seems to be a popular. They even met with the Zags too.
Yes, he did meet with
the
Gonzaga.
Zags about that as well. So, man,
and Gonzaga has a baseball team, unless they folded again. Because remember, they came here and played against
yeah,
the
you're
University of Texas.
Great point.
Before. One of the other things too, Rod, I know that they were talking about, do these teams have that amount of money to be able to pay those types of things?
Exit fees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I don't think they would want to even have the discussions if they haven't already worked towards that. Because you don't just automatically go out there and say, I want to do this, I want to do that, without having the means to do so.
Yeah.
You have put yourself in the conversation because you've obviously had some things in the back pocket to where you might be able to pull some strings.
Yeah.
Or,
and I don't know if they make them pay it up front. They could say,
Right.
we got our revenue share from the Big 12. That's guaranteed. What is that, $32 million, whatever.
Right.
And we go like, hey, basically kind of a payment plan. Hey, you will get the money, but we basically need installments. We can pay you $25 million now, and when we get our other 30, we can pay you another 20 something, whatever it may be.
in
But I'm with you. I think
Texas doing something like that themselves?
I think a lot of schools have done that.
Where they
It's
leave,
just-
but they just won't get the pay, and the
Yeah.
pay goes back.
yeah.
You know
I
what I'm
don't know
saying? So
exactly
it's
how
like,
it works, but I'm sure it can be
I'm
negotiated.
coming in, I'm going to go, but you know the money that y'all supposed to give me? Go ahead and give it to my conference,
Yeah.
and then I'll get all the benefits the next year.
Yep.
It's not like
And
it's
they can
the
play
end-all,
hardball,
be-all.
but exactly.
Yeah.
There's definitely ways of getting out of it. I'm with you. I think they're lawyers.
Yeah.
They all hire really
Really good ones.
big time lawyers to
Right.
help them handle this. I guarantee they found the loophole and they've given them the out. You're right. I'm sure there will be some monetary consequence.
For sure.
But man, I'll give you this. Speaking of monetary losses, the theory right now, based on the revenue sharing deal Big 12 teams have compared to Pac-12 teams, revenue sharing deal, which for the broadcast television right, which is terrible for the Pac-12.
For sure.
We talked about
Do
the
they
Pac-12
even have
network.
one?
Yeah, which is
Do they
it's really
even
bad.
have one?
It is estimated that Colorado has lost nearly $70 million in possible revenue compared to what would have been, profits for them as a program, as a university, I should say, in the Big 12 compared to their status now in the Pac-12. But if you include exit fees, because they did pay exit fees when they left the Big 12,
Yep.
and the lack of revenue that they've earned in the Pac-12 compared to what they would have earned in the Big 12, which even now still ahead of the Pac-12 and has been for some time in revenue sharing for each school. Essentially, you're looking at close to $70 million in losses. So whatever they're going to pay in exit fees, it'll be well worth it.
Right. And
'Cause
that's the
they've been-
other part of it is like, okay, if I'm already losing.
You're losing money anyway.
And the problem that I had was when I left the first time, my team ended up not being good anyway. So nobody was really wanting to watch Colorado football like they used to. Nobody was really going to those games like they used to. It's a different beast. Now you got somebody that's generating. Now you got somebody that's looking out for it. And I just got this text: no exit fees or financial punishment for any Pac-12 school currently.
Okay.
So there's that opportunity too. But the real thing is this: we have seen this writing on the wall. You went through it yesterday. You went through all the steps of how they have been putting their head in the sand and thinking that this is not happening when the writing has been on the wall for quite some time, and they've done nothing to adjust it. And nobody is running to the Pac-12 and saying, we got to get a deal done with you guys.
Well, strangely enough, Klyavkov said July 5th, I have it documented, July 5th, 2022, basically they announced that they intended to. This is after the USC UCLA announcement. They announced that they intended to sign a TV contract, and they still have no deal. So you're talking about more than a year later, still have no deal done. And the Big 12, because Brett Yarmark is a savvy visionary as a leader, they jumped the line. They signed the 6-year, $2.2 billion deal extension with ESPN and Fox collaboration, and it was like last October. That was Brett Yarmark was on the job 5-6 months at the time.
Yeah.
And he
already knew
that writing on the wall you talking about. He's like, oh, that's pretty clear. I got to get in right now. If I don't get in right now, then we're not going to be able to get our money, or we'll have less leverage in negotiation. And that's exactly what he did. And in doing that and acting so swiftly, he essentially has doomed the Pac-12.
Yes,
he's
imploded it. This is we talked about Bob Bowlesby, right? You looking at what our man Steve Patterson did to the University of Texas. He came in, he knew that he had to change some things, but he didn't know exactly what. The best thing he did was bring beer sales to the stadium. The best thing Kliavkoff has done is nothing. He has done nothing. He has not made any adjustments. You just said it. July 5th, 2022, he didn't have a plan in place. Where are the other people in his circle that are trying to tell him, hey, man, we're getting past real quick and we're losing. You lost your two best assets, UCLA and USC. And I know people don't think of them as that. You had the L.A. market for that. You want L.A. You need L.A. And they're gone now. And now you're trying to look around and try to piece something together. And you went to the Pac-12 Media Day, not Media Days, Media Day, and you still didn't have an answer for the people. That is a big time problem.
Yeah, no, it's it's interesting because I brought this up yesterday. I remember Kliavkoff at Pac-12 Media Days most recently. He was saying things that just made him seem unaware and almost delusional on what was happening. He said this. He said, we're on track to announce our deals at about the same time everyone would have anticipated and predicted before conference realignment. And it's like, yeah, but conference realignment happened. Yes. So you need to adjust. What are you talking about? Yep. That's bad that you're still on the same track that you were on prior to conference realignment. What are you talking about? He also said our schools are committed to each other, and we'll get our media rights deal done. We'll announce the deal. I think the realignment that's going on in college athletics will come to an end for this cycle. He said this at Pac-12 Media Days this year.
Media Day.
Yeah, Media Day. You're right. You're right. Media Day. And guys, when was that? Last week?
Yeah, it was last Friday.
So this is literally history repeating itself. Bob Bowlesby did the same thing. Bob Bowlesby, and I'll get the Bob Bowlesby comments here to make sure I don't misquote the man. Bob Bowlesby in, was it 2021's Big 12 Media Days, if I'm not mistaken? Like that was his last.
Yep.
And then he said that this is about conference realignment. He said a lot of the motivation for realignment is no longer there. Is that to say it couldn't happen? No. It could possibly happen for other reasons, but it doesn't appear to me that the motivation is there at this point in time. Not to say it couldn't happen, but it's not one of the things that keeps me up at night. He said that 11 days before it was reported that Texas and Oklahoma are leaving. So while he's saying this, they're shaking hands behind his back.
Oh, they already done it. They was already on the plane somewhere else.
They're on a group text. Like, man, you hear Bowlesby? This dude saying, this dude is delusional.
Where do they get a load of this?
Right? So this is how unaware Kliavkoff, and I believe he's gonna have the same fate as Bowlesby. He's pulling a Bowlesby.
He's 100%. They've hung out together.
He's pulling a Bowlesby right now.
And what he's like, he just lives in the West Coast bubble of, oh no, it's cool that we have later games, as opposed to, hey, we can see the market that everybody wants that 11 a.m. game. Everybody wants that game. Fox has made it big noon Sunday. They want that game. And so we need to go try and get some Central Time Zone schools and reach out to Central Time Zone schools and go get them, because then we can put our primary products on at 11. We just have to do the game as an away game for a team. And then they're over in Central Time Zone, and we do 11 a.m. game. And we can be on, Pac-12 can be on TV all day long, as opposed to Pac-12 at the earliest is a 2:30 game, and they're usually not even starting until 6. So everybody's already drunk, watch football all day, and is tired by the time you're starting your schedule. And if he didn't realize when Fox started Big Noon Sunday or Big Noon Saturday that you need to take that market when he's already way behind on everything else he's done since then.
Yeah.
Because that move then was, crap, we need to have games at noon. We need to have games that can be on that because that's one major market that is not going to be interested in Pac-12 because they're spending money to have the early games.
Yep.
And ESPN is fighting against them to have the early games. And if we can't have early games, nobody cares about the 9:30 game because we're the only ones doing it, so they're only bidding against themselves. They know that, and they don't have to pay more for it. We have to compete with the other guys. He didn't want to compete. He wanted to sell that he was the only team doing something. Like, we can put something else on at 9:30. Don't matter.
Yeah.
And from that point on, Kliavkoff has missed the boat of this is where everything's going, and you need to be headed that way. And he has just continually gone the wrong direction of, no, it'll be fine.
He is. He says patience will be rewarded.
What?
No, I'm serious. He said this is a quote from him. He said, but I will tell you what we've seen is that the longer we wait for the media deal, the better our options get. And I think our board realizes that. This is a quote from Pac-12 Media Day. Thank you.
What is your day? What is your patience going to give you? Because
he's done.
we just talked Fox, we just talked ESPN, and now the only other station is CBS, and they don't play that many games on there. They have their big game. They have a day game and a night game. They don't have a ton of games that are on there. So, and I've told you, I have been looking at all of those Pac-12 channels. I've been trying to watch it. I went home yesterday and tried to find some of those throwback games. That's all I got. That's all I got. So I don't even understand how this is you got to be patient. What other option are you? You hoping Amazon going to pick you up?
Yeah, you're hoping that you're getting a streaming service.
You have to.
And if you go, hey, man, over streaming, you're like, you want us to pay to watch your teams? And guess what? The Heisman Trophy winner just left.
Yep.
So if you don't have the Heisman Trophy winner, why am I paying? Because none of the other guys, I get it. Oregon could be good and Washington is good. And, man, Michael Penix Jr., that's a fun guy to watch.
Yeah, he's going to be gone too. He's like Frank Harris.
But
he's going to be gone.
I ain't paying to watch him.
Yeah.
If he's not on, I'll watch the highlights. I'm not paying an extra service to watch your games because you've lost all your marquee things. And if you didn't go, hey, okay, well, let's try and take over more areas and more times and let's spread out. Once you don't have that mentality and it's like, let's shrink up more and we'll be really concise in being not that entertaining.
I know. I'd say he's pulling a Bowlesby. It's
he is 100% a Bowlesby.
It's mind blowing. It's like, dude, have you studied the industry like that? You're making all the same mistakes he did. And by the way, the Pac-12 also a mistake they made. Remember when they had a chance to poach the Big 12 right after Texas and Oklahoma left, and they in Texas and Oklahoma, it was fragile. Right before Brett Yarmore got in there, it was like, man, what the hell's going on? And remember, the reason that they didn't poach a lot of the schools like Oklahoma State and Texas Tech is because they didn't believe they were up to their academic standards.
Yeah. Yep.
And again, what did I say? Central time zone.
Oh, that's
all of those games. You could have had Oklahoma State and the Pac-12, and you know what? Oregon versus Oklahoma State, and it's playing at Oklahoma State. It's 11 a.m. game. They're both ranked teams.
Yep.
This is now Big Noon.
Just
Fox Big Noon
kickoff.
Yep. Is ready for Oklahoma State because that's a big game because it's number 11 versus number 14. And you could have that game, but that game is not as exciting at 7 p.m. when 11 versus 14. Well, 2 versus 7 is playing in the SEC.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
1 versus 8 is playing in Big 10, and you got 12 versus 16.
Yeah,
which game am I going to watch?
Yeah, that's not a good look. And I love the fact of where everybody's thinking the reward is going to be. There's no reward for this.
No.
You failed your presidents.
Yep.
You failed your athletic directors.
Yeah,
you were not aggressive enough, especially when everybody knew. We've been talking about realignment for a long time. We've been talking about super conferences. This is not new stuff, man.
Yeah, new stuff, man.
You should have been in those meetings with other commissioners across the country and really being aggressive. You were not forward thinking.
You don't have to be forward thinking. Just study recent history.
Yeah.
Just do a little research on recent history, and you go, man, I think I need to be aggressive here.
Yep.
I got to
For
be
sure.
aggressive on this thing.
For sure.
And for him to think that all the all the ads and all the presidents of all the schools don't know this and don't know that he looks like an idiot and aren't getting phone calls from people telling them that he's an idiot.
Yep.
And hey, man, look, right now everybody wants you because you're available to get out without having to pay a bunch of money. It's an easier transition. Everybody knows. Just jump ship now.
Yep.
Jump ship now, and if we get a couple more schools to jump ship, Pac-12's over. You go to Big Ten. These teams will go to ACC. Like, you'll make it all work.
You missed your opportunity when Texas and Oklahoma left, and that was your chance to poach a fragile Big 12. And that was so you made a ton of mistakes. They've mounted up at this point, and they've accumulated. So yeah, the Pac-12's fate, I think, is sealed.
It is 100% sealed.
It's done because I think the Big Ten's going to jump on Washington and Oregon. And as soon as they get a chance, or Stanford and some other schools, maybe Stanford, Cal, Washington, Oregon.
The unique situation about all of this is the fact when teams left the first time to go to different places, you should have been proactive then because it had already started. The first time that the teams left the Big 12, just talking about our area, when you saw Colorado leave, when you saw Nebraska leave, when you saw Texas A&M leave, you should have been preparing yourself for that.
Larry Scott did try. Remember, he tried.
Yeah, he tried to go get. But I'm saying
Texas.
It should have kept going.
It didn't.
The next person should have been okay. Look at what happened.
But
I just stepped in this
bad leadership.
Yeah,
yeah.
Overall, Pac-12 has been failing miserably.
But the Big 12 had bad leadership too for a long time. And then now Brett Yarmark is
He's like,
in
nah,
just a
we
year.
fixing this.
In 1 year, he stabilized the Big 12. Took him 1 year to stabilize it, and he came in with a clear, concise vision. And a plan on how to execute it. And that's why Texas left the Big 12.
For sure.
Was lack of leadership. They went to where Greg Sankey has a vision for the conference, and he has a plan on how to execute it and how to accomplish that goal. That's really what I think a lot of these school presidents, these ADs are looking for.
Yeah.
They're looking for a good leadership. And hell, the Big Ten had it. They just hired a new guy, but Kevin Warren, I believe, was before
Kevin
that.
Warren.
And now he's with the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, he is. He's in the front office for the Bears.
Yeah, I mean, just looking for.
He was another one that was tripping for a little bit. Kevin Warren was tripping in the very beginning.
The COVID issue.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You can argue that's where he had a little setback.
Went left. Yeah,
he had a little setback.
Yep.
But other than that, I mean, he put the Big Ten in position. He understood realignment.
Yep.
Right? COVID, nobody predicted COVID. Nobody knew it was coming. So I understand it being mishandled to a certain extent. Remember, Bowlesby was the champion of COVID. Remember, you don't get college football that season if Bowlesby doesn't decide. He was a deciding vote.
Him and Sankey were together.
No. The SEC was already on board. He was in the Power 5. He was the deciding vote. The SEC and the SEC was already on board. It was the Pac-12 and the Big Ten that were undecided, and the ACC and the SEC were like, man, we're playing football, and they were like, Big 12, what you want to do? It was like, and then the way it goes, the Big Ten and the Pac-12 was like, man, we'll kind of go wherever the Big 12 goes. The majority plays, then we'll play football.
Yep.
And he wasn't a coward. He decided in that time, he was like, nah, man, we can play football. We've done the research. Let's play football. That was his one crowning achievement.
It was.
As commissioner of the Big 12 was that he got us football during COVID because he didn't decide to get punked. But usually. They got the best of both.
Yeah, he was like, I'm out.
Okay, we know about the breaking news about Joe Burrow, so we'll get to it. I promise you. We got an NFL segment, several NFL segments planned, so we'll get to the Joe Burrow news. We know it is big news. Man, a lot of people have been carted off fields. Or Jalen Ramsey got carted off the field.
And they're all lower leg injuries.
I got to tell you, that next CBA.
Yeah.
Training camp about to get cut down to like a week or two, 1 or 2 weeks, and everybody's going to be cool with it. It's going to be some terrible football to start the season. All right, we'll come back. We'll get into that. We'll also talk Rangers, Astros on the other side. Rob Manfred re-signed to an extension, and also we'll get into that Shohei trade, which apparently now is off the table. All that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie. Wonderful on Horn. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104 Down the Horn. It is a new theme Thursday edition of Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. That's when Patrick the Ideallionaire takes jams that are supposed to provide clues and hints to Harge and I as to what the new theme of the day is. All right. I like the first jam. Not sure what it means. Harge, got any ideas?
That's what I'm thinking too. I'm in that same. I like it. Ain't this Mary Jane?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where I'm going to stay with it then.
All right, we'll try to do better next time. Known a new theme Thursday. Thanks to Patrick for all the musically themed days of the week. 512-337-3776. That's the number to the Specs text line. You also can hit us up via Twitter. Harge is at Hardball Harge in the Twitterverse. Patrick Davis at It's Patrick Davis. I'm at Rod Babers in the Twitterverse. All right, let's get to the Astros and the Rangers. Rangers with a big statement win last night over the Astros, 13-5. Yeah, that's kind of an Old Testament style butt whipping. It started out actually Astros playing well, but then the Rangers were motivated because of a lot of in-game drama, and also I think that was after the first two games of the series and the way they started out too, I think for the Rangers, it was more desperation for them. They were the more desperate team to win that game because of they getting swept is very different than just losing a series.
I agree with that 100%.
It's like getting blown out. Getting blown out is different than just losing. You can lose, but getting blown out, oh, man, that's a whole different type of taste in your mouth after.
Yeah, for sure. And the fact of how they lost those games, those were games that they felt that they could have won. And you go out there and you end up losing that game, and now all of a sudden you're having this highly intense battle, and then it gets out of hand. Well, it starts off with people being thrown at. So, balls running away, you get in that situation. So it makes it a little bit, it's intense now. But you do want to make sure that you're in there ready to go. We're not going to get picked on. We're not going to take this from you anymore. We want to make sure that we are going to go after each other and we're going to play hard. Okay, now you get Jordan back, you get Altuve back, you got all these guys coming back, and now you've already got us up 2 games. Now we got to go out there and fight you. Now we got to let you know we're not the same the same Rangers that you're used to playing. We have a lot of talent. We got 6 All-Stars on this team. We got 6.
They looked like it last night.
Right. They all decided to show up.
Yeah, they looked like it last night. Adolis Garcia had that grand slam home run. That really blew everything wide open. That 7-run 5th inning for the Rangers. And that's pretty much, it was all said and done. But that wasn't the big storyline of the game, actually. The big storyline was Adolis Garcia and Marcus Semien. They ended up exchanging words with Martin Maldonado. And like you said, benches cleared, but nothing was really done. It was just a lot of, it's a lot of fluff.
A lot of wolf tickets.
Yeah, it was
there was a lot of wolfing
nobody
going
really
on.
wanted to swing. I think they just wanted to talk some trash and get in people's face and kind of release some of the tension.
Agreed.
Relieve some of the tension out there.
Agreed. And that's why it was frustrating for me after, because everybody keeps talking about Framber got hit. Marcus Semien got hit by Framber, and then everything kind of got, chippy. But it was after Jordan got thrown at as well. And then maybe you could say it got away from him and all this other stuff. It's part of the game. The problem that I have with it is the fact that you threw some people out for no reason. There was no reason to throw out 2 guys that are position players. If you wanted to throw somebody out, should have threw out pitchers. That's who you throw out. You don't throw out the position players who didn't throw punches. All they did was talk trash to each other. It's gotten to the point on this side of it, and from somebody that's been in plenty of brawls, I know when somebody's trying to hurt you, and I know when somebody's not trying to hurt you, they're trying to send a message. That was the point of the walk at home plate, the jumping on home plate, and letting them know we're not the same team anymore. We're going to play y'all, and we're going to play y'all hard.
Yeah, you can't punk us.
You can't punk us no more.
No, and I really love that Bruce Bochy has got his team, that they lose those 2 games. They're controversial. And he basically got them into, look, man, we can't be little brother.
Yep.
Yeah, we can't go out there and act like little brother and get pushed around and just take it. You got to go fight. And if you want to be a playoff team and not a regular season team, then you need to have a little bit more fire underneath you, because the nice guys aren't going to win this. And we need to go out there and go get it. And I like to see that, because that is a big difference of how the Rangers had acted in the past.
Yep.
That, when they win, they're like, oh, good, we're winning. But they didn't go, we know we're supposed to be winning. And yesterday seemed like they were pissed off that they didn't win. They didn't win the series. And that's how you have to be. You have to be pissed off you didn't win the series. Not mad at the refs, not mad at the situation, pissed off because you didn't do enough to win. Mm-hmm. They did that. They came out, had a statement win. I agree with Harge. I don't think you need to throw anybody out. It was just it's a bunch of people talking trash. And I get why you did it, because I get that you thought it was going to be – you saw people getting thrown at. You gave them a warning. Mm-hmm. I get it, but I don't think you needed to do it. Yeah. But, yeah, it's definitely leads to more fun going forward, and we can hope this matchup happens in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah, the rivalry right now is, it's exciting. It's really, really a fun rivalry because it's got a lot of storylines going on through it. And both the teams are really good. Both
They're really good.
And the Astros are really good.
And they're getting players back healthy. And that's the other part of it, too. The Astros are getting their guys back. Yeah. The Seager is going to be back soon. Eovaldi's going to be pitching again soon for the Rangers. So you're going to get things back into the right place. And I'm with everybody else. I can't wait to see them play again. If they both continue to be on this level.
Yeah.
If it gets back to where it was before, then you're like, it was, false hope. False hustle. You got false hustle.
No, it seems like the Rangers are a contender. I mean, the Rangers are legit, but like you said, the Astros have been here.
Yeah, they already
They've
know.
been here before. Yeah. They know how this goes. The Rangers, this group, this current configuration of a Rangers team, they're a little new to this, having this much success in the season. So we'll see how the rest of the baseball season goes. All right, we'll come back to that. What are your thoughts about the Shohei Ohtani trade reportedly being off the table? What the hell are the Angels doing?
Well, I think the Angels realized that we need to keep him. They went and got somebody else. They went and got
Lucas. Was it Giolito?
Yeah,
Giolito. And also Ronaldo Lopez,
who has been traded with him both times he's been traded.
So two pitch. Oh, really?
They've been in a package deal together. Each time? It's very rare.
I was going to say, how often does that happen?
Today was the first time I heard that these guys have been traded together before.
That's crazy.
So it's very, very rare. I don't know. I'm like, they must be family. They might be a package deal everywhere. Everywhere I go, we go.
I wonder if one of them said something like the guy that's being traded is like, nah, man, if you're gonna trade me with my boy. Like, how does that happen?
Exactly.
That's just weird.
It's very weird. But for me, I think it was what we had talked about before. They looked and said, we're not doing this. We're not getting rid of the only player that we have on both sides, and the fact that other teams, what they were probably being asked to give up for a possible rental. Maybe it was the fact that they realized Shohei doesn't want to go to the East Coast. Maybe he wants to stay in the West Coast. I'm not sure, but there is a reason why teams have backed off, and the Angels have said that they're not trading him.
Yeah, the only thing I can say is if they don't make the playoffs this year, if I'm Mike Trout, I'm pissed off, because I'm like, dude, you could have gotten me 4 or 5 really good prospects, somebody that could help this team, and you're going to lose them in free agency because we didn't make the playoffs because we suck, because you mismanaged this team for too long, and we're just going to keep going because you didn't want to be the guy who traded away Shohei Ohtani,
right?
And because you can't think long term, so you can sign 10-year deals, but you can't build a team.
Yep.
I get that you want to have him and you don't want to trade the guy, and I get that there's endorsement deals and all this other stuff that you're going to lose if you trade him, but the thought of, hey, we could add 3 All-Stars out of a deal. There's a possibility we could add 3 All-Stars to our rotation, to our team, if we make a trade right now. So we're going to get rid of a guy who's electric, but he's leaving at the end of the season.
Yep.
And for
and that's the other part. I don't know if he's going to leave. That's what I'm saying. I think they know he doesn't want to leave.
But why is he not signing an extension then?
Because he wants to try to get the max. They could probably. He's probably looking at how much money can these guys actually give me? And it goes back to what you've been talking about, that ownership part of it. Where are you going to give me a percentage of it? So there may be something that is in there that they have deferred some money and offered different things. So there may be some things that we find out a little bit later, but I think what was the asking price of him and other organizations who didn't think that they were going to be able to sign him long term, why would I risk it? Because I wanted him traded too. I wanted him traded.
I agree with you. I don't think for rental what they were probably asking was going to be, because they were asking for a ton.
Yes.
But I don't. I have no faith in this Angels organization to do the right thing.
Very fair.
So
very fair. We've seen it go the other way for quite some time.
I think they'll throw a ton of money at him.
Yep.
But I think the Dodgers will, and I think the Giants will. And if you have those two options, why would you stay in the Angels franchise that just hasn't done anything?
I mean, CBO is working hard for us. So I'm assuming there's a doubleheader for the Angels today?
Yes.
Yeah, and you saw what he did, right?
He threw a complete game shutout where he only allowed a single hit as a pitcher in the first game. And in the second game, he hit a home run as a batter.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just, I guess, and Messi is, him and Mbappe, what they do in their sports, Patrick Mahomes, what he does in his sports. But, man, it's hard to argue that any pro athlete is better at their sport right now than Shohei is at baseball.
Yeah, and he's back in the lineup already, DHing for the doubleheader. They're playing in the doubleheader, and he's already back in the lineup.
Man.
He's amazing.
Like Cole Yoshi, there's some great players in those conversations, but this dude, we've never seen anything like it.
And like my boy Marcus Tim said, he is different.
That's
he
why
is him.
I get the Angels saying, man, I can't trade him.
I know.
I don't want to do this. I can say somebody's going having a temper tantrum in that front office going, I don't want to trade
somebody in there, somebody's kid in that front office.
I don't want to do it.
No,
I don't want
to trade him.
I don't want to be known as trading the best player that's ever played the game. Politician who's like, we got to trade. He's like,
in his prime.
Why do we have to trade? Do we have to? Do we break the rules?
You're looking at that like the GM's going, we have to trade him because I'm getting fired in 2 years and we don't win without him because you keep wanting to sign toys as the owner and you don't want to build a team. We don't have a farm system. We need a farm system.
Yep.
And you don't draft well. You don't do the owner just sucks. He didn't sell the team.
Man, trade Mike Trout.
Yeah, that is the person.
Trade Trout.
That is the person that you trade.
I think like that. I ain't trade this dude, man. I don't want to deal with the consequences of being the guy that traded Shohei Ohtani.
What happens when the offseason comes? He gets a $700 million deal. They offer him $600 million. He walks away, and then they go, "We couldn't do $700 million." Do you think? Well, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard because you wouldn't go another $100 million for him.
No, trust me, I feel you. I'm saying I get it, but they obviously feel that way right now. They're like, man, I'm not trading them. They just don't feel good about the trade conversation. So there's something else happening. Like Hard said, they know something we don't know, or they've decided, to just throw kind of a temper tantrum. Like, no, we're not trading them.
Yeah,
but that's irrational. It may be irrational and unreasonable.
Yeah. If they re-sign him, it all makes sense. If they don't re-sign him, this is the dumbest move they could have made. It's going to set their franchise back for 4 or 5 seasons.
I don't disagree with that.
And Mike Trout will never be on a winning team if they do this because they're going to keep spending money.
But my question would be this, and I'm not disagreeing with anything that you just said about that, but the problem will be this. If you do try to trade him and you don't get the prospects because you're asking for so much, because he definitely worth it. Because we talked about it. He helps you on
worth it.
He helps you on both sides.
No question.
I agree.
Both sides. And that is where you talk about the LeBron effect, right? Like he comes in and he just wipes out your organization. Remember when the Astros wiped out their organization by sending off all these great players? It took them a long time to recover.
It did.
I don't think any other organization want to go through that.
No,
that's the only reason why I say I'm with whoever is like, nah, man.
I think
I need everybody you got.
And not for the rental either.
Right, not for the rental.
Yeah.
I need to know I'm signing.
Yeah, I agree. I agree that there may have been no team offering them close to what they wanted.
Yeah.
I think it's silly to pull them off the trade block 5 days before. And now maybe this is all
all a ploy.
It's maybe a tactic too to be like,
to make him an offer they can't refuse.
Look at it. We just pulled it off, and he's playing so well. And then the Yankees call back and go, all right, what? We just take the whole club.
Take it all.
Just take the whole club. You just run the club now.
The whole damn take the whole farm system, brother. You got it.
Yep.
Just give us Shohei in the Big Apple.
Yeah.
Ooh.
The Mets.
With Judge.
And the Mets might be getting them
because
they spend money like it ain't nothing.
Yeah.
They'll give him the Bobby Bonilla deal.
And there's a lot of competition.
Don't put him on the Angels of the East.
Yeah. A lot of competition in the market. The Jets just did basically the same thing.
They
really got Aaron Rodgers.
And he took a pay cut.
Shohei ain't doing that. Shohei is not taking a pay cut.
Don't wish the Mets upon Shohei Ohtani.
Seriously, man. With the way Shohei playing, man, the Saudis going to offer him pretty soon. Hey, like, Shohei, just come play with us, baby.
Exactly.
$4 billion for 1 season.
Yep.
Oh, all
I'm with you.
Come back. We'll get into the flex on the other side right here on Bundle Line 104.9 The Horn. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. New theme Thursday. That's when Patrick plays jams intended to provide clues and hints for Harge and I as to what the new theme of the day is. And, yeah, I think we know what it is. Last Dance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Feel like MJ up in here.
Yeah, it is fitting that the show is coming to an end. So, is that the official new theme?
That is the new theme. Yes.
That is the
well,
last
I mean,
dance.
last the ends of things. And
Ends
last,
of
and
things.
yes.
There you go. I don't even think you played End of the. Did you play End of the Road
Not
yesterday?
yet. Not yet.
Oh, so End of the Road could apply new theme
It could,
also
yes.
midweek.
There it is.
Because I was
There it
waiting
is.
on it yesterday. I was like, we never got End of the Road.
Now, by the way, the first song is called Mary Jane's Last Dance.
Mary Jane's Last Dance.
I knew
Okay.
Mary Jane was in there.
Was it about?
I was trying to wait for Mary Jane.
Is it
That's
about?
what I thought.
Is it about Mary Jane or about a woman named Mary Jane?
No, I think it's just a lot of
Okay.
open metaphors, but it's kind of more about the loss of youth and summer and
it's
all
all
that
deep,
stuff.
it's all deep and existential.
So, Tom Petty stuff, man. He's
Yeah,
really-
yeah, that's a little too deep. I thought you were just talking about drugs. All right, I'm sure that was also.
That's where I was
No,
going with
it's
it.
it's a much weirder song if it's just on the bass level. It's like giving up smoking weed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's a weirder song to have.
All right, go to FLXATX.com, FLXATX on all your social media platforms. They do have the latest installment for your All Flex watch list, so you can go check that out at FLXATX.com because today you have running backs and also, you have receivers.
And wide receivers, too.
Receivers, too.
Running back and wide receivers, yeah.
So the wide receivers here on this list. Actually, yeah, my phone's not working. There it is.
I got
you. Here's Adrian Wilson of Weiss, Alex Green of Hutto, Ed Small, baller, of Anderson.
Baseball player, too.
Yeah, he's a hell of an athlete.
Yep.
Fatu Makuba. Did I get that right of LBJ?
Yep.
I think I remember hearing his name a lot.
Yeah.
Grant Jones of Burnett. Heath McCree of Westlake.
Fast.
Jace Skoglund of Vandergrift. Kyle Koch of Dripping Springs. Miles Coleman, he's fast too. Vandergrift represented on here twice. Sam Self of Lake Travis. And Trent Johnson of Rouse. There
Yeah.
you go. And so those are the wide receivers. For
In the
offense
running
watches.
back position,
Kimbo.
you already know how this goes down. We got Jack Kaiser of Westlake, who has been probably one of the best running backs in this area for quite some time, even after he got moved up during his sophomore year late, and he went out and got 1,000 yards then. Nico Hamilton,
Hey,
Kinfolk,
Kinfolk.
doing his thing, continuing to move around with the colleges. Lake Travis, Noah Long from Liberty Hill. I think he had over 3,000 yards rushing because of the way they run the ball. Andrew Petter from Georgetown. DJ Duggar, who is a beast. I've seen that he's been taking a lot of trips, too. I know one of them most recently was Texas Tech.
Oh, yeah.
And Justin Cannon, the running back from Rouse. There's a lot of talent in these area. Congratulations to all these kids for making the Flex watch list.
Yeah, no question about it. So congrats to all those guys. And tomorrow you got the quarterbacks, actually. So check that out, FLXATX.com. We come back. We'll talk about Sean Payton talking trash. Ooh, I love it.
Yeah,
the
buddy.
NBAification of the NFL. It's getting petty. And I got to tell you, I'm here for it. Right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. Let me tell you about my favorite beer. It's Bud Light, because Bud Light is the perfect beer for any and every occasion. Can turn those good times into great times, and the rest of the times just feel like the best of times. That's what Bud Light is all about. We're creeping closer and closer to the weekend, and that means, it means there's plenty of times and plenty of reasons to break out the Bud Light. Whether you're living a lake life, maybe you're grilling in the backyard, enjoying friends and family, maybe you're just hanging out, happy hour, maybe you're living the Austin nightlife, enjoying the nightlife. There's all types of occasions that Bud Light can improve and make just that much better. Summer activities, whatever you're doing, all those summer activities are that much better when you're breaking out the Bud Light. So remember, folks, you want to be the life of the party, just bring more Bud Light to the party. And that's what I'll be doing this weekend, drinking a lot of Bud Light, hanging out, having a good time. Bud Light, brewed deep in the heart of Texas, by Texans, for Texans, and proud of it. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It is a new theme Thursday edition of Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. And that means my man Patrick playing jams that are supposed to provide clues and hints to Harge and I as to what the new theme of the day is. And it's about the final occasion of things, the end of things, the last days of things.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
It's the end of the world as we know it.
Well,
It's the name of the song.
yeah, no.
Who sings this? Is this REM?
Is REM?
Okay, because I heard somebody talking about this earlier. I think Zay and Chad were actually talking about it. He's like, are we going to get some REM? Is that the world as we know
Is
it?
that like,
Yeah.
is that, I don't know, is that like a tradition that you play?
No, but I think
REM
everybody,
on-
because everybody knows that song. Like they know what the meaning is behind it.
Okay.
It has the great in Black Sheep when they're singing along to it in the car. And then it gets to the part where he starts singing faster and faster, and then they just kind of fell off of it.
I like it. Okay, no, it is. I mean, obviously very iconic. So we appreciate Patrick always hooking us up for all the musically themed days of the week, but especially a sentimental new theme Thursday for a lot of reasons. All right, Harge, what you got coming up on Harge Knock Life for the people?
I know we've been talking a lot of Dallas Cowboys. We haven't done a lot of it today, but now we will. At 4:30, we're going to have our man Kyle Yeomans, who is in Oxnard, talking about the Cowboys, ask about some of the injuries, and kind of catch up and talk, because we didn't get a chance to ask Clarence Hill. We get a chance to ask him about the Trayvon Diggs signing.
Well, and that's a lot of Cowboy stories out there.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, because I want to ask him a little bit about really the wide receivers too. I'm really intrigued about the addition of Brandon Cooks with that group, and really I think they could end up being a stellar group this year. So we'll talk to Kyle Yeomans, and we'll talk plenty of Cowboys, so you get your Cowboys fix in case you haven't gotten it yet. Also, you can be a part of the show, 512-337-3776. That is the number to the Specs text line. Harge is at Hardball Harge in the Twitterverse. I'm at Rod Babers in the Twitterverse. My man Patrick Davis at Patrick Davis in the Twitterverse. All right, gentlemen, let's get to this Sean Payton story, because I'm not surprised if you follow Sean Payton and you've listened to him over the years. He is very blunt.
Yes, he is.
He is very blunt. That's why everybody loves doing interviews with him. He really doesn't have much of a filter, and he's kind of lost his ability to communicate with coach speak over the years, because I just don't think he gives an F. I mean,
he does not.
Remember, there's a video of him out there hitting a bomb. Like I
Taking
think
a rip.
Yeah, I just think he's got zero Fs given at this point, and he's proven himself to be a damn good football coach. So it doesn't matter what's going on. Somebody's gonna hire Sean Payton to coach their football team. And so Sean Payton was being interviewed, and by the way, I'll give credit to. I want to make sure I'll give credit to the reporter, the beat reporter, because it's his story. It's USA Today reporter, and this story, like I said, it is blown up now because of the comments that Sean Payton made to this report. So it's Jared Bell. That's his name. It's Jared Bell. So this story from Jared Bell basically has quotes from Sean Payton essentially talking trash about Nathaniel Hackett. So here are the quotes. I'll just give you the ones that I have. Here are the quotes that I was able to gather and collect from the story. So the first one is, and it's relatively tame. He's just kind of calling his shot. He said, "I'm going to be pissed off if this is not a playoff team." So he's just talking about, but just calling his shot, saying they're going to be a playoff team and be upset they're not one. And then he said, "Oh man," this is a quote from the story. "Oh man, there's so much dirt around that." He's talking about Russell Wilson and what happened with the team last year. "Oh, man, there's so much dirt around that. There's 20 dirty hands for what was allowed, tolerated in this freaking training rooms, in the meeting rooms, the offense. I don't know Hackett. A lot of people had dirt on their hands. It wasn't just Russell. He didn't just flip. He still has it. This BS that he hit a wall, shoot, they couldn't get a play in. They were 29th in the league in pre-snap penalties on both sides of the ball." He did name names, guys. He didn't have to say Hackett's name. He did. He said
That's where it hurts.
That's where it hurt. He could have said
where it
everything
hurts.
he said right there without saying,
That's
"I
where it
don't know
hurt.
Hackett."
No.
If he'd have said everything he said without saying, "I don't know Hackett," I think he'd have been good. But he went after Hackett. He named names. When he was also asked about the with the drama surrounding Russell Wilson. Remember him bringing in his own private coaches, and also having his own office separate from the locker room. Remember all those reports? Peyton said that wasn't his fault. That was the parents who allowed it. That's not an incrimination on him, but an incrimination on the head coach, the GM, the president, and everybody else who watched it all happen. Now, a quarterback having an office and a place to watch film is normal, but all those things get magnified when you're losing. And that other stuff, I've never heard of it. We're not doing that.
Yeah. I mean, there was a lot of stories that were going around about what was happening, what wasn't happening. The stories of Russell having all his handlers around. Remember, we had the conversation last year about, hey, man, Russell made people call his handlers to set up meetings with him and all that other stuff. Look, there's a reprieve that is happening. You only get to do certain things if they allow it. If they didn't allow it, then none of this would have happened. They allowed it. And you remember all the interviews that they had, Russell and Hackett looked like they were best friends. I saw a bunch of interviews where they were sitting there cutting up together, just having a blast. So for him to go out there on that limb, I know Sean does his homework. I know Sean pays attention to the games. I know he went back and watched film, unlike Mike McCarthy, where he lied on his interview. I believe Sean was truly watching film, and that's why he can make these assumptions, but you didn't have to call him out by name.
He didn't have to call him out by name, but I will say that I think for Sean Payton, remember, he's inheriting a lot of these guys from that team.
Yep.
And a lot of these guys,
recruiting.
their confidence is shaken as a result of that terrible season they had, including his quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of those guys taking the blame and taking the onus and the responsibility for that season, I think he, as a leader, wants those guys to know, no, you guys are still great players and awesome players. It was the clown show that takes all of the responsibility and the fault for what happened last year, even though we know that's not all true. But I think that's the psychology I think he's using here. Here's another quote about about what happened with Nathaniel Hackett's team with Russell Wilson and the new Sean Payton regime. He said, quote, and this one kind of hurts too, everything I heard about last season, we're doing the opposite.
Yeah.
Like the only thing he was missing was a Seinfeld Costanza reference with that one.
Here's your chance to try the opposite. Instead of tuna salad and being intimidated by women, chicken salad and going right up to them.
Yeah, I should do the opposite. I should.
If every instinct you have is wrong, then the opposite would have to be right.
Yes. I will do the opposite. I used to sit here and do nothing and regret it for the rest of the day. So now I will do the opposite and I will do something.
The last quote that got really, went viral and has Sean Payton in a little bit of hot water, at least from the Jets' perspective, is that he said, that was a message. They can only beat the blank out of you so much, but everybody's got a little stink on their hands. It's not just Russell. It was a poor offensive line. It might have been one of the worst coaching jobs in the history of the NFL. That's how bad it was. Another Broncos reporter here said, a Broncos beat reporter said that Sean Payton told him he was trying to evaluate a player and evaluate the game film. He said the offense was such a disaster that he didn't know what he was looking at. I've said that about Texas football like 2 years ago. I did. I was like, I can't tell you guys what coverage they're playing. I don't know what it is.
Right.
It was so bad, so disjointed. I have no idea. It's so confusing. I have no idea what it is. That's basically what he's saying about Nathaniel Hackett. And the reason that this is really, really interesting is because Nathaniel Hackett is now coaching for the Jets. He's their offensive coordinator. And we know that Aaron Rodgers and Nathaniel Hackett are close. So close, in fact, and this is already hitting home because week 5, the Jets actually traveled to the Broncos. So this thing is going to come to a head at one point, a point of critical mass, if you will, in week 5. Robert Saleh has already responded to it. He's already responded to it.
Well, I'm not going to acknowledge Sean.
Sorry, yeah, go ahead. Play this out.
Well, I'm not going to acknowledge Sean on that. He's been in the league a while. He can say whatever the hell he wants. But as far as what we have going on here, it's I kind of live by saying if you ain't got no haters, you ain't popping. So hate away. It's obviously we're doing something right if you got to talk about us when we don't play you till week 4, and I'm good with it. But the guys in our locker room, they've earned everything that's coming to them. And really excited about what's going on. I think Hackett's doing a phenomenal job here. The coaching staff is doing a phenomenal job, and we're focused on us. I get it. There's a lot of external noise. There's a lot of people who are hating on us. There's a lot of people looking for us to fail. There's a lot of crows pecking at our neck. But all you can do is spread your wings, keep flying high until those crows fall off and suffocate from the inability to breathe. It's a whole other analogy I'll get into later. But really, really, really excited about the group we have, the coaching that's going on, and but I'm going to keep our focus on us and making sure that we're prepared every single day to do the best we can and learn from our past and grow with every moment that we have.
Nice. That's a nice response. I like the response.
I do want to get a class taught to us about animals and just have a nature show with coaches because Sean Payton had the quote today about being baby iguanas. And,
I read that one in the things too.
And it was about snakes coming to get and feed off the baby iguana, so you have to be too fast. And it's just a nature show hosted by coaches just making metaphors and analogies.
They probably watch a lot of those
See what
nature
kind of
shows,
pets
though.
they are, and I'll see what kind of.
There's crows pecking at you, and they're a baby iguana. And
If you were an animal, what type of animal would you be?
Some of those crazy combine questions.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so this thing goes deeper, guys. It goes deeper. So not only do they play each other, and there is a comment actually, and we'll read it here in a second. But this goes deeper because not only is Nathaniel Hackett on the Jets staff, he's going to be the offensive coordinator. They play Week 5, but Aaron Rodgers claims that he and Nathaniel Hackett are like BFFs. The day he signed, he had his press conference, media availability. Listen to him talk about basically why he decided to be a Jet.
They smoked us last year, so I knew that it's a good team. We got to practice against them a couple years ago, and I got to get to know Robert a little bit more. And I've always loved what he's all about. We played him in San Fran a few times, and mostly they got the best of us. But I liked the way that he was leading, his coaching style. A big reason I'm here, I got to mention, is Nathaniel Hackett, who's here. Hack and I became really close friends for 3 years in Green Bay, and I love him like a brother. And I believe in him, and I'm really happy to be back working with him again. Obviously, Joe has got a great track record so far of drafting some incredible players, but it takes a system, and obviously Robert has the right sauce, so I'm excited about getting to work with him and Brick and Marquand, former teammate of mine, and it's a great staff. But I'm an old guy, so I want to be a part of a team that can win it all. And I believe that this is a place we can get that done.
All right, friend of Aaron. He's got 6 former Packers there. They signed this offseason. And, of course, friend of Aaron is Nathaniel Hackett, and they are BFFs. Another shot that was taken, fired across the bow by Sean Payton in regards to the Jets, Jets. He's making it known. I have no idea why he's picking on the Jets, but I love it.
Either.
I think it's awesome. I love me some trash talk and smack talk. This is fantastic. Okay, so this is what he said. He said, quote, "It doesn't happen often where an NFL team or organization gets embarrassed." He said, and that happened here. Part of it was their own fault relative to spending so much time trying to win the offseason, the PR, the pomp and circumstance, marching people around and all this stuff. We're not doing any of that. The Jets did that this year. You watch. Hard Knocks, all of it. I can see it coming. Remember when former Washington owner Dan Snyder put the dream team together? I was at the Giants in 2000. I was a young coach. I thought, how are we going to compete with them? Deion Sanders there now. That team won 8 games or whatever. So listen, just put the work in. Yes! Yes! This is WWE style stuff, baby. He is calling out the Jets. Guys, we're talking about now this being one of the highest rated games of the NFL season. It's must-watch television.
Well, especially if Denver's not doing well.
Exactly.
You still
Oh,
stand
my
there,
gosh,
huh?
Sean
You stand
Payton
there, right?
Is standing on corpses right now.
I
Then
love it.
He's like, oh man, these guys might get up.
I love it. Come on, guys. This is awesome.
I'm all in on this.
I've
already said
What
it.
side are we taking? I'm taking Sean Payton's side. To hell, I just like that he's talking trash. I'll take Sean Payton's side.
I still have my.
The Jets are a better
Jets
team.
gonna-
It's
yeah.
clear the Jets are a better team.
Wait, did any of us
You know what I
pick
mean?
Denver to make the playoffs?
No.
Just saying.
I'm talking about just trash. Listen, I said WWE style. The person I pick in the WWE matchup is not always going to win the fight. But
That's very true.
I like the way they promote it. The match.
Yeah.
You got to promote the match. And right, that's like the Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg thing. Like, I kind of like the way Elon Musk is promoting the matchup, so I'm going to choose his side.
Yeah.
Man, Sean Payton is talking some trash.
Well, it's
And
getting
you-
them back on. It's getting them back into the news, right? Because all the things that we talked about last year, dealing with Russell Wilson, how he didn't play well. The team, remember, they had a disaster on the sideline. They were wanting to fight him coming to the sideline. The offensive linemen were yelling. The defense was yelling at the offense.
This is awesome.
He's trying to get this team rallied behind Russ and making them believe. But he's also looking at Nathaniel Hackett and saying, this is all your fault what I'm coming in here to.
Exactly.
This is terrible. So whatever happens at this point, I look like a miracle worker. That's where he's trying to put himself.
Well, and he's in the worst division for that too. I mean,
Yeah,
Kansas
you
City's
can't
going to
do
win
Kan-
division.
yeah, I was gonna say,
and
you're
then
playing
after
Kansas
that, the
City.
pecking order starts after that.
In all honesty, if Russell Wilson doesn't come back and have a Pro Bowl season, then all this trash talking goes out the window. Because if he's just even okay, you're like, man, you talked a lot of trash for not being able to save it. And apparently it wasn't just Nathaniel Hackett, and apparently it wasn't all this. So you are writing a lot of checks right now.
Yes, that's why I love it. This is, like I said, this is what
I
happens.
do hope
in
that this
WWE.
is only the start, and we
Oh,
get
man.
16 to 17 more of him trash talking other
Keep
teams.
it coming.
Yep.
Keep it coming. Yeah. Sean is smoking too much of that stuff. Hey, he ain't smoking enough of it. Usually that stuff calms you down.
Well, he must
No.
got the sativa.
No, he just forgot he ain't an announcer anymore.
Right? It's like, but you know what? Like I said, I'm all for it because if you're Commissioner Goodell, you got to go, okay, didn't know that was going to be a marquee game. It is now.
Yep.
Now add it to the list
Yep.
of marquee games. But
Exactly.
that wasn't on the list. Nobody was circling Jets Broncos at the beginning of the season. Now we're
No.
like, okay, so now that's a must-watch game. I got to go. So if that's not on national TV, I'm going to have to go somewhere to go watch that game.
Let me tell you the other games that are on. It's a 3 p.m. game on the Fed. There's three other 3 p.m. games. Bengals, Cardinals.
Well, now with Joe Burrow.
Well,
Yep.
but that
I
one's
ain't
probably
gonna
not.
watch that.
Even
And
with
not
Joe
with
Burrow.
the Cardinals anyway.
Now with the Cardinals anyway, yeah.
Eagles, Rams,
Not really. The Rams ain't that
They're not- I'm
sexy
not
to
that
me
excited
anymore.
Chiefs,
about that.
Vikings.
That's kind of cool.
You know what? Now the quarterback's out, everybody loves Kirk Cousins.
Yeah,
Yep.
They're both on there?
Yeah, that was not bad. I like that one.
And that was
good.
both of those guys that were on it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That would
so
be
both
competitive.
quarterbacks.
So
yeah.
that's the one that'll probably get national
That'll-
coverage,
that'll be
and this one
competitive.
won't even be on national TV.
Yeah, no, that's all right.
It won't even be the
Robbie,
big
you have to go somewhere to watch it. I will.
Yeah.
Don't worry, Sean Payton, you got me now. You got Rob B's viewership because I'm watching that one. Guys, let's not forget what just simple trash talk did for college women's basketball.
Yep.
Yeah.
It
I
did.
mean, remember, it was
LSU and
it was
Caitlin Clark.
unbelievable.
Iowa. Yeah.
Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark and
Yep.
what's the man? Van Lythe, what's her name?
Yeah, now she's at LSU.
Just
She
talk-
transferred from Louisville to LSU.
We just watched the women.
Yeah.
Obviously, these women are tremendously talented. But we hadn't been watching them because they're tremendously talented. They started talking some trash to each
Yep,
other
yep.
and taunting each other.
Then we're like,
and
wait a minute,
stunting on
let's
each
see
other.
what we got.
Guys, the audience, they got 9.9 million viewers for that national championship game.
Yeah.
9.9 million viewers. Guys, for perspective on that, they had more people watching the that women's championship game than the season prior to that, Sugar Bowl, Orange Bowl, and Cotton Bowls. Your Big 12, Pac-12, ACC title games, Notre Dame, USC, LSU, Bama, Ohio State, Penn State, Texas, A&M, Bama.
Yeah.
All because the women were talking some trash. Hell, it got more people watching it than 2023 Thursday Night Football and the 2021 NBA Finals.
That's because people couldn't
Because they
find it
were
on
talking
Amazon on Thursday.
Trash, man. They were talking trash. It helps.
Yeah,
when
it
you
does.
That's why they promote boxing events and
Yep.
they promote fighting events. That's basically what this is.
Yep.
This is done to promote a fighting event. Oh, it's going to be great.
I'm excited about
And
it, too.
you're right. It'll
just
probably be a
because-
dud, as Patrick mentioned. It'll probably
It will
terrible.
not be. I don't think it will be. I
But-
think it's going to be good because of
Could
the
be.
fact of who the coaches are.
Gonna be 2-2-2 teams.
Salah's a
playing each other.
defensive.
Well, now the
Salah's
Jets,
a
I think, are actually
defensive-minded
really good.
coach. Salah's a
He
defensive-minded
is.
coach.
Sean Payton's
Sean
offense.
Payton.
That's good.
So it's a personal thing.
That's a good point.
You got defensive backs there, Patrick Surtain, and then you have Sauce Gardner on the other
Sauce.
side. You got Garrett Wilson. You don't know who you have as their wide receiver.
That's true.
For the
Yeah.
Broncos. So
Oh, Garrett Wilson limped off the field, too.
yeah, he got hurt today too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
this is the Joe Burrow
there's a
news.
lot of news that is out there.
So those on we'll get to a Harsh Knock Life, but yeah, Joe Burrow was carted off the field with a calf injury of some kind, so
Yeah.
that seems pretty serious. What you got for the people on Harsh Knock Life?
We're going to talk to my man Kyle Yeoman so we can talk about the Dallas Cowboys, what he's seen at training camp, some of the injuries, some of the pays, and when is Zach Martin going to go to camp?
That is a really good question, and
Yep.
we'll ask them all of Kyle Yeoman's on the other side on Harsh Knock Life right here on Ball Don't Lie 104.9 The Horn.
Welcome back to a new Theme Thursday edition of Ball Don't Lie. It's your boy Hardball Hard. You can follow me on Twitter at Hardball Hard. You can follow my man Rob Babers at Rob Babers. And, of course, you can follow the man that's in charge of all of our themes at It's Patrick Davis. We also love it when you're a part of the show, so hit us up on the Specs text line, 512-337-3776. And joining us right now on the Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina hotline is a man that we've heard on these airways with us multiple times. He's a great play-by-play guy, pre- and post-game TV host. He is one of the best analysts, and he is a good friend, and he also represents the 254. Right now, he's with the Dallas Cowboys in Oxnard, California. It's my man, Kyle Humans. How you doing, Kyle?
All right, Mike. I need you to leave the horn, and I need you to just come follow me around and give me an intro everywhere, because that was one of the best intros I've heard, and I appreciate you guys having me as always, and excited to talk some football again.
For sure.
Hey, just so
Thanks for joining
happens
us.
I might be able to do that for you. But right now,
Well, how much does it pay? What's the salary on that gig?
I might be able to do that, my brother.
I don't think I could afford you. Are you kidding me? There's no way.
So tell us what is happening out in Oxnard, California. Obviously, early in the week, we got the Trayvon Diggs signing done, and some people are excited around here. Some people are still hating because that's just what they do. But I'm just curious to how soon will we get Zach Martin in the camp?
Yeah, I think it's going to get interesting here in the next couple of days. We haven't heard an official update either from the front office or Mike McCarthy, but I mean, some of the players are kind of starting to show maybe some behind the scenes of what's happening. Tyler Smith today said that Zach Martin texted the entire offensive line and said, "Hey, don't worry, I'll be back soon." And so that was kind of something that came out of today's practice. And then Dak Prescott today was saying that he's been in constant contact with Zach, and that he's really had the constant communication. And then Dak ended his press conference by saying, "Pay the man." So I think the message around this team is pretty clear. They want Zach back, and there's no doubt about that. They want him to be back in the fold. They want him to be healthy going into the season. And in order to do that, he's going to need at least a little bit of a ramp-up period before going into week one. And it's not going to come from those preseason games. So hopefully we'll see Zach Martin soon, whether that's a resolved contract dispute or what ends up happening. The holdout is still continuing at the moment, but at least coming from the players, it feels like they're not fretting it too much.
Hey, Kyle, you know this team as well as anybody. What does the Texas Coast offense mean to you, and have you noticed any differences in what the Texas Coast offense may look like compared to last season?
Yeah, so the Texas Coast is kind of what Mike McCarthy and Dak Prescott tabbed as a variation of the West Coast offense. Of course, the West Coast coming from the 49ers and Marty Schottenheimer, who is a semifinalist for the Pro Football Hall of Fame this summer, and a great mentor of Mike McCarthy's. And so Mike has always had that West Coast feel to his play calling. And with him being back at the play calling helm for the first time since 2018, he wants it to be simplistic for his quarterback. He wants things to be fresh and wants things to be full of options for Dak Prescott to make things easier on him as he goes through the progressions, as he goes through a game plan. He doesn't want to overdo it. And it's so early. We've only seen 2 practices, and both of which have been without pads. But we can see a lot of the horizontal concepts. The vertical game has been tested once or twice, but that's really about it. The rest of it's within 15 yards of play and getting receivers open, getting the ball in the hands of your playmakers and allowing them to go and do some work. So I think that's going to be the biggest change. I don't think it'll be a complete overhaul of the offense that Kellen Moore ran last year, because there were some things that did go well with Kellen Moore as the offensive coordinator. They put up great numbers. You just got to have that consistency as a play caller to push through an entire 17-game season. And I think that's what the experience of Mike McCarthy is going to provide a bit of a challenge and a bit of an advantage per se for this Cowboys offense.
Yeah, we're excited. I'm excited about this Cowboys offense and what the possibilities can be. But the biggest question is the running back position. We still don't know if Tony Pollard is going to be that every down back that everybody thinks he can be. You bring in Deuce Vaughn. You got Malik Davis that is there. What does the running back position look like or need to look like for you to believe that the Cowboys have a legitimate chance late in ball games where they're trying to bleed the clock, so to speak?
Yeah, I think Tony can do that sort of stuff, but that's just not his game. And so Tony Pollard's the home run hitter. He's the one that's going to come in and provide an electric shock to your offense when it needs it most. I mean, he had the longest rushing touchdown and the longest receiving touchdown in the Cowboys franchise last year, and that's not by accident. I mean, that is absolutely by design. And I think that'll remain somewhat the same. I mean, he may see more carries, but he's never had a game where he's put over 22 carries on the board. And he's only had one game, and it was a game where he had 22 carries. That's the only game he's had over 19 carries in his career. So I think they would be doing Tony Pollard a disservice if they were to take him and push him into a three-down back scenario. So you need one of these other guys to step up. You need a Malik Davis who is entering another year in the fold and having a complete offseason is certainly going to help him. Rico Dowdle's in that conversation. Deuce Vaughn, the rookie from Kansas State, and I know you guys know him down in the Hill Country just from his time in the Big 12. But he looks good in the early days, despite some of the challenges that he has from a smaller stature. I think it really looks like he's going to be a force to be reckoned with as well. So there are some names on the table for the Cowboys, but you got to really get the pads on first before you can truly see which one of those running backs is starting to distance themselves.
Hey, Kyle, this Cowboys defense has been one of the best in the NFL the last 2 seasons and actually led the NFL in takeaways the last 2 years. There is a belief that they could be even better than their top 5 status the last couple of years. Do you believe that the Cowboys could be better than that? And what is better than top 5? They're going to be the best defense in the league?
I think they can be. And the reason being, I mean, look at all the playmakers on that side of the ball. You look everywhere, and you've got investment top to bottom. I mean, you just paid Trayvon Diggs, which you talked about it off the top, Mike. Some are excited, some are not. I'm certainly excited to see Trayvon Diggs get paid, and that fact that he's going to continue to grow into his role. But you bring Stephon Gilmore into the fold. You have some depth at corner. The safety group is as deep as it's ever been for the Cowboys specifically. And then now you've got some investment on the defensive line with Mozzie Smith and, of course, Micah, DeMarcus Lawrence, Dorrance Armstrong. They feel stacked on that side of the ball. And, yeah, they've led the NFL in takeaways the last 2 years. First team since the Steel Curtain defense in the 70s for Pittsburgh that did that. But now I'm interested to see how they take that next step. How do they really solidify themselves as not only the best defense in the NFC East, but maybe the best defense in football? And that's the goal for Dan Quinn this year, is he wants to make sure that they continue to get better and continue to grow, because they certainly have the playmakers to make some noise.
Kyle, you brought it up on the defensive side. You brought up Deuce a little while ago on the offensive side, but another name that a lot of people around here want to hear about is DeMarvion Overshown. We've heard a lot of conversation already about him. Yesterday, Coach Mike McCarthy brought his name up, talking about he comes to the field ready to work. Talked a little bit about the special teams part of it. But it's ironic that he is playing that weak side linebacker position, and so is another Texas Longhorn, Malik Jefferson, in that same area. What has DeMarvion Overshown shown you so far since he's been here, even when they got to that little mini camp and now in the training camp?
Well, I think he's got versatility. He can play in coverage. He can come and rush the passer, or he can play the traditional linebacker role and play the run and really make a read. So I think that sort of Swiss Army knife mentality is what Dan Quinn was really interested in when they took him in the 3rd round. So the fact that he's showing the athleticism, he's showing an ability to understand the playbook. I mean, he's been in 2 practices so far, and I don't remember a time where I've looked up and seen DeMarvion Overshown out of place by any stretch. So He looks like he's comfortable. I spoke with him yesterday. He said he feels comfortable and that he's really kind of taken the extra time to really digest the playbook and understand its concepts. And, I mean, that's easier said than done whenever Dan Quinn's your defensive coordinator, because he's going to throw some crazy stuff at you. And it seems like he's up for the challenge. So I think if you're a fan of the Longhorns that are going to the NFL, continue to keep an eye on 35 for the Cowboys, because I think Overshown may make some noise by the time this year is said and done.
Hey, Kyle, let me ask you about the tight ends for the Cowboys. You lost Dalton Schultz, who was arguably Dak's favorite target actually last season, and drafted a tight end in the second round with Schoonmaker. That's a group with about 4 different guys. When you're talking about Ferguson or Hendershot, what are your thoughts about the tight end? Who's going to step up there? Are we talking about a money ball platooning situation?
I think there's a number of guys that they feel comfortable with. They, of course, liked what they saw from Jake Ferguson and Peyton Hendershot as rookies last year. I think Ferguson's currently your starter because he's the more well-rounded tight end option. He's the more NFL-ready tight end option, whereas Hendershot still needs to develop as a blocker, though he does have some down-the-field ability. They really like the young tandem there, but also they like John Stevens. They call him Stretch. He's an undrafted free agent from Louisiana Lafayette, and he was at LSU beforehand, ended up going to Lafayette and played very sparing time in college football, really in general. So he's very raw. The talent is raw, and I think you can see some of the vertical ability, which is why they call him Stretch, because he's also got some size to him as well. So I keep hearing, watch out for John Stevens, watch out for this guy. Today he had a great practice, and he ended up having a touchdown grab in the 11-on-11 section of practice. So I think he's off to a great start. The second-round pick, Luke Schoonmaker, it's been a little disappointing so far. He's been dealing with a foot issue really since the rookie mini camp began, and so we haven't really seen what Schoonmaker can do. He's an unknown at the moment because he hasn't been on the field. He's been doing his workouts. He's been getting closer. I talked with him a couple days ago as well, and he said that he's getting close. He's ramping up, and so hopefully that means he'll be on the field sooner rather than later. But they've got at least 3 tight ends, maybe more, that they feel very comfortable with and that are going to try and utilize in this offense.
And we also want to know about the wide receiver position. You know, Michael Gallup coming back on that second year after the ACL injury. Brandon Cooks looks like he's in great shape. CeeDee Lamb is CeeDee Lamb. But who's going to be that other guy that we're going to be paying attention to? I know you brought up John Stevens, but I saw some video of Jalen Monroe Cropper that he's been making some plays. And we haven't even talked about Kevontae Turpin much. We haven't heard much news about him. What's the latest in that 4th wide receiver area?
Yeah, honestly, I think it's a competition between Simi Fehoko and Jalen Tolbert. And right now, Jalen Tolbert is the talk of camp. I mean, he may be the most talked about individual because he's all over the field. I mean, he's making receptions. He's blocking. He's consistently doing the right things in offense. And today he had a nice grab in 11-on-11 where he tiptoed to the sideline, and then he turned around and made another grab in the middle of the field. So he's kind of worked the entire field so far. I think there's a lot of excitement around that, especially since he was he was an under-the-radar guy, and he was a bit disappointing as a rookie 3rd-round pick. But now he looks like he's clicking, and he's starting to figure out things offensively for this team, and I think that's going to go a long way. If he's able to contribute, then it's almost like adding another Michael Gallup into the fold, a 3rd-round pick that has some downfield threat ability and some sideline ability as well. And so if he can continue to grow and build off of the camp that he's had so far, I think there's a lot of excitement around what Jalen Tolbert could bring. Additionally, I really do like Simi Fehoko's had a good practice or a good couple practices. Kevontae Turpin's been a little banged up, so I don't think he's necessarily full go yet, and he's been really limited in his snaps. But they certainly have those options, along with Jalen Moreno Cropper, the undrafted free agent from Fresno State. So they're throwing the ball around a little bit, and Dak's got some targets to throw to.
They really like people from Fresno State. Deron Bland from last year, and now they're trying to make some other moves. Jalen Tolbert, you brought him up. He's learning how to be a pro, just like you, my friend. As always, I appreciate you jumping on with us, and continue to follow Kyle at Kyle_humans on social media. He will keep you up to date on all the happenings in Oxnard, California. As always, brother, thank you for taking the time, and I appreciate you.
Thanks, Kyle.
Yeah, appreciate you guys. Shout out to Central Texas. Love you guys, and I'll talk to you soon.
254 representing as always.
Oh,
there he is,
shizzle.
my man Kyle. There he is.
Shizzle. All right, we'll come back. We'll get into a little off the record on the other side, right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. I had an off the record that we wanted to get to, and we still can get to some off the record topics, but seems like there's breaking news happening all the time these days.
No doubt.
The breaking news is that, and I can't believe it's a real thing, but it is. So the Big 12 apparently put out a statement, because it's from the Big 12 Twitter account. A statement from the commissioner is what it says. And then it reads, Irving, Texas, July 27, 2023, in parentheses. The following statement was released today by the Big 12 Conference through its commissioner, Brett Yarmark, regarding the University of Colorado. And then all it says, in quotes, is, they're back. That's it.
I love it.
Dot, end quote.
Yep,
Period.
I love it.
End of statement.
Love it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that like a reference to MJ?
It is, definitely. That was almost the exact same statement that he did. But the difference
I'm
was
back.
they had to fax that in.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's swag
And it was
right
fuzzy.
there.
It was fuzzy when it
Fuzzy.
came
It was like,
across.
what is that? I remember they put a picture. I was like, what is that? MJ's handwriting is terrible. That's terrible.
Exactly.
But there you go. So it is official. Colorado's on their way back to the Big 12, gentlemen. It's a beautiful thing.
We won't see them.
We won't see them. We will not see them.
I am curious if Deion's going to take any shots at Texas and Oklahoma on the way out.
Y'all
Why
was
not?
scared of you?
It's Deion.
Y'all
so he made it
scared.
know
Y'all
well.
knew we was coming.
Why
Because he
not?
kept saying, we coming.
Yeah, he did.
We coming.
Maybe this is what he was talking
That's what
about.
he meant,
Maybe
huh?
he knew before everybody that they coming.
Exactly.
Now, the
That's
question
why he
is,
took the job.
What do you think Kliavkoff is doing right now?
I'm not even sure if they're really going to go. That's why he's sitting there.
I don't think he cares. I don't think he cares.
Guys, good riddance to Colorado.
Yeah.
Good riddance. We don't need him.
I think they got a guy who actually doesn't care enough. I'm not saying he doesn't care at all, but he doesn't care enough. So I think he's thinking about, getting him a contract, whatever the best one he can get, and then his golden parachute that he's going to get.
Dude,
once he's fired, he's going to get his millions and go somewhere and
If
kick
this
it.
dude literally told the presidents of these schools, well, you all get a bigger cut now, I'd hang up the phone and be like, I'm never talking to that dude again. I'm never talking to that dude again.
And that's a nice pitch. That's another way to spin it. The spin zone.
Hey,
Now you get a bigger
Y'all
cut.
get a pay raise.
Of what? Of what, sir? Of what?
Yup.
How about this as another story for off the record, guys? Kylian Mbappe, who was offered $776 million for one season to play for Al Hilal, the Saudi club. He turned it down. He's refusing to even meet with him or negotiate with the Saudi club Al Hilal. He's not even. Maybe he's playing hardball, but right now he's not. He's not going to play for
I
them.
feel like there's something in these contracts.
Wow.
I feel like there's something they're not telling us that's in these contracts.
Maybe they
where
want
it's
to play in Saudi Arabia.
well, it might be that, but it might be like, hey, also you have to have this amount of dinners with like the families, and you have to have this, and you have to go
I'm sure.
on public
Obligations,
relations
yeah.
moments where you're
Yeah.
speaking out for us, and you're doing because it's so much money that it makes sense that they'd be like, oh no, we also want you to be like a spokesman for us.
Yeah.
And then you'd be like, well, no, I'm not going to do that. And then you read down, you're like, oh, and if you get caught doing this, then we'll put you in jail. And if you get caught doing this, then we have the rights to execute you. And if we do this, but if you play well, we'll do it. And you're like, wait, would you say an execute? Why is that in there? Why is it in my contracts?
Yeah, like I don't know.
also-
I don't
yeah.
know what's in the contract. I will say that this is the second time that they've been turned down now in a row by a famous soccer player, because reportedly Messi was also offered about $1.6 billion actually to play for what, 3 seasons? 3 seasons.
Yeah,
I believe it was
3
3 seasons actually it was.
Well, the funny thing is, too, think about it. The only person that did accept it is Ronaldo, and Ronaldo will accept anything. He just don't care. He's over there playing, too.
He's like, I'm a mercenary. I'll take the cash.
Yeah. So I'm looking at it like that, too. And think about it. All money ain't good money. So maybe that's why he's also saying that, too. Maybe
they-
he's standing on some principles.
Well, maybe he
on
doesn't need
himself.
the. He doesn't need the money.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't need it. You want the money, but
Well, I
he's
mean,
getting.
if
He's
I can
getting.
get that.
He's getting paid plenty of money. I mean, you know.
I know, but
Aaron Rodgers just took the biggest pay cut in NFL history.
I'm thinking a lot of history.
It's a $35 million pay cut
I'm
over
thinking
2
a
years.
lot of history.
So, some guys, maybe, the money doesn't matter as much to
Yep.
them. It's not their top priority.
yeah. Not at all.
Or maybe he's playing hardball and he wants more money. He wants you to go to $1 billion
Well,
for him.
they think he's going to get that.
If they offer $1 billion, you think he'll take it?
He better.
For one season.
For what?
It's there $776 million now. Man, that's, to these guys, that's
I
nothing.
think that was the tax.
$1 billion is nothing
Yeah,
for them.
I don't know. I feel like there's something else in there.
It could
There's
be.
something else.
It could be. I don't know what the contracts say. You right. It could be something else in there that he want to do. But maybe that's part of the negotiations. Like, all right, if you want me to do that, you want me to be your spokesman, I need over $1 billion.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ooh, that would be, man, that's crazy. Like I say, they may, Ohtani, watch out, man. You might get an offer from the Saudis pretty soon.
Yeah.
I want you to come over here and play for $1 billion. All right, we'll come back. We'll get into the big news from the Big 12. All of that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie. 104.9 The Horn.
Mike Hart here, and I want to talk to you about my friends over at The League. Go to leaguekitchen.com to find out more information. You know what today is? Today is Thursday, and it is Prime to Wine Thursday. That's right. You get a whole ribeye, and you get half off bottles of wine every Thursday. It's dine-in, delivery, or pickup. No matter what it is, make sure you go over to the leaguekitchen.com. The leaguekitchen.com, the League Kitchen and Tavern specializes in chef-inspired comfort food that is made from scratch from all 4 area locations: Avery Ranch, Bee Cave, Belterra, and Lakeway. Whether you want specials, whether you want drink specials, or you just want to go in there and have a good time, the League has something for you. If you haven't tried their meatloaf bites or their truffle deviled eggs, you are missing out as well. Go to leaguekitchen.com to find out more information. You can see the monthly specials and the menu, and you can also make reservations as well. Leaguekitchen.com. That is leaguekitchen.com.
Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It is a new theme Thursday. That's when Patrick, the Idillionaire, he plays jams that are intended to provide clues and hints to Harj and I as to what the new theme of the day is. And it's pretty obvious. It is about songs that reference the end of things, last days, finales, closing ceremonies, whatever it may be. We are approaching the end of Ball Don't Lie. So
I better hear some Jay-Z encore.
That's not a bad one.
Yeah.
That's not bad. Yeah, that's not bad. Yeah. You got.
Thank you. You're far too kind.
I still haven't. Like I said, I assume End of the Road's coming at one point.
It's got to be there.
Because
it's got to be there.
That's one of the best songs ever about the end of things. And it was supposed to be a part of Midweek Movie Music, which was Boomerang yesterday.
Yep.
And that was on that soundtrack. So I know it's coming. I just don't know when.
And thank you to the texter that hit us up and said, I can't believe this is the last new theme Thursday. It's the last one.
It is sad. Yeah, it is sad. Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
I don't want to think about the sadness of it.
Yeah.
I have fun doing the musically themed days, but you're right. And then we got 512 Friday. And then I think till Tuesday's the last day, so we will have a Top of the Charts Tuesday then?
Last Top of the Charts Tuesday, yeah.
Wow. There you go. It flew by. All right. So anyway, you can be a part of the show. Specs Test Line's the best way to do it. 512-337-3776. Hardball Harj is how you reach Harj in Twitterverse. My man Patrick Davis. It is Patrick Davis. I'm at Rod Babers. All right. We got to get to this Big 12 story because it is official. At least from the statement from the Big 12, their Twitter account read that the statement from the commissioner said, Irving, Texas. The following statement was released today by Big 12 Conference, by the Big 12 Conference through Commissioner Brett Yardmark, and regarding University of Colorado, in quotes, they're back. Just 2 words. That's it. So we're assuming that means that they have been voted, or at least their invitation accepted or voted in. I'm not sure exactly how the process goes. But Colorado will be the newest member of the Big 12. And all the reports state, at least from Brett McMurphy and others, is that the Big 12 will look to add a companion program with Colorado. But they may not stop at 14. This is for the 2024 season, remember. So Texas and Oklahoma leaving at 14 now. That'll take you to 12. Adding Colorado makes you at 13. You could add another team, makes you 14. And they may, Brett McMurphy says, add 2 more teams. In addition to that 14 team, they may go to 16. So right now they're at 13. And he says they will not play 2024 season with 13 teams. They will have an even number. So he expects 14, but possibly even 16 teams.
That's it. That is impressive, especially when you look at what is going on in the Pac-12, where it's going to be down to 9 teams as of right now. So with them leaving USC and UCLA already scheduled to leave, and now you just add Colorado, they're down to 9 teams. Remember, Big 12 did that as well. They were dropped down to 9 teams in certain sports. So now you're looking at it and you're realizing that, we're sinking. And we're sinking fast. What is going to happen next? We don't have media rights. We don't have all these other things in place. So why would other teams want to stay in that conference as well?
Even if you're a group of 5 team, why would you want to jump up to the Pac-12 considering how unstable and how fragile the Pac-12 is right now? You wouldn't want to do
so much that you are looking at and saying, man, that water sure is murky.
I would not do it. And the crazy thing about it, guys, this is a total, just an abject failure by Kliavkoff, the commissioner of the Pac-12.
Yep.
He's pulling a Bowlesby, and I point this out earlier. I cannot believe that this guy hasn't studied the most recent history of college football to understand how this realignment was going to play out. But I brought this up yesterday, guys, at the Pac-12 Media Days this year, and that was last week, I believe. He went on the record and said, I'll just read you his comments here. He said, but I will tell you from what we've seen is that the longer we wait for the media deal, the better our options get. And I think our board realizes that. He said that.
Yep, he did.
He also said, he said, we're on track to announce our deals at about the same time everyone would have anticipated and predicted before conference realignment. Our patience will be rewarded.
He's so cute.
He said this, and he also said this. Here's another one. Here's another dinger. Our schools are committed to each other and the Pac-12. We'll get our media rights deal done. We'll announce the deal. I think the realignment that's going on in college athletics will come to an end for this cycle. Famous last words. Just like Bob Bowlesby,
Yes.
last Big 12 conference, 11 days. All right, 11 days before Texas and Oklahoma reportedly was announced they were leaving the Big 12, Bob Bowlesby said these words: "Allow the motivation for realignment is no longer there." Is that to say it couldn't happen? No. It could possibly happen for other reasons, but it doesn't appear to me that the motivation is there at this point. Not to say it couldn't happen, but it's not something that keeps me up at night. Well, I hope you're sleeping soundly.
I was
Bowlesby.
going to say,
You got
put your
time
CPAP
your
on
hands.
and go to sleep, man. You're going to be in there for a while.
Gonna be there for a while.
Unbelievable,
Yeah,
man. I mean, that's the true definition of keeping your head in the sand and not looking at the things that are going around you, what are going on around you. You know that one meme where he's in the swing and there's fire going
the
on
little girl
behind him?
is swinging,
Yeah.
yeah.
And there's nothing that they're worried about. It's just like they're just out there. I'm just playing. All hell is breaking loose behind them. But I got nothing to worry about because you know why? I live in my own bubble. I don't even have to worry about that kind of stuff. No, you're missing your opportunities. And I believe that a lot of those chancellors, presidents, and athletic directors are looking around right now and saying, guys, we have to stand up. I don't know what he's talking about. Yeah. So the next person that calls you, I'm answering the phone call. I'm taking that phone call because there's nothing left for us. And I love the fact of what you were talking about the group of five. If I'm a group of five and I'm looking at that, the first thing you need to look at is what is the leadership?
Yep.
Where are we going?
What's the
Before
vision?
I haven't heard nothing from you. You went to to Pac-12 media days and said, we don't know what we're doing about our contract with viewership.
Crazy.
We have no idea.
No idea.
And if you do, you obviously didn't share the vision with Colorado because that came up quick.
It came up quick. That's what I said. You got to love Brett Yarmark and what he did. Guys, he's been on the job like a little over a year.
Mm-hmm.
Remember at the Big 12 Media Days, he put up like, this is what I've done in the first year, and it was a long list of stuff. And I don't know if any of those initiatives and actions that he is now being credited with were more important than him cutting the line, skipping the line of the Pac-12 and going to get and expedite his media deal. With I think ESPN and Fox as a 6-year, $2.2 billion extension of the media rights for the Big 12. And that, in a nutshell, that may have been what doomed the Pac-12. Yep. Because now I just don't know if there are enough available networks or broadcast networks out there that can help out the Pac-12. And, people, getting Colorado, because Colorado, I know some people have said Colorado is not necessarily the jewel that the Big 12 thinks it is in athletics, and it may not be right now. It is sexy because of the profile of Deion Sanders in the college football program.
Yep.
But Colorado has lost reportedly nearly $70 million in possible revenue that they would have gotten in the Big 12 with the revenue sharing in the Big 12 compared to the Pac-12 and with the exit fees they've paid. And now they're going to have another exit fee on top of that. So they just need to get back to somewhere where they can make money and be profitable. And they are profitable, but they're just not. They're losing a lot of money in the Pac-12 because the Pac-12 is, as you pointed out, it's a sinking ship.
Oh, my goodness.
And so, listen, Colorado Athletics, they've almost lost at twice as many games as they've won since they left the Big 12. I believe you go look at their winning percentage, it's 34% winning percentage since then, looking at the football program. Their athletic department budget is 7th, I believe, overall in the Pac-12. They have the smallest athletic department in the Pac-12. If you're looking at athletes and sports overall. So it's only like, man, it's actually not that, it's not a crown jewel of a program. But this is about markets, and I think a lot of what Brett Yarmark's looking at is the Denver market, which I believe is like the 16th highest rated media market out there, and you get that, and if you get the Arizona schools, then that's another major market with Phoenix and Arizona. So I think he's thinking about markets at this point.
Yeah, I think he's also thinking about how can I get all the other schools I may want from the Pac-12, and if I destabilize them further, does it make it easier for me to get other schools? Because until somebody takes that first jump to the Big 12, the other ones may go, well, I don't want to be the only one who does it, and then things turn out. But once Colorado jumps, all right, now you may go to a Utah and go, all right, Utah, you come on in. You're a perfect fit. We've got BYU here. We'll bring you in. And then it's a question of, do we go after Washington State? Do we go after Oregon and Oregon State? Do we go after Arizona and Arizona State? But we can take 2 of them with us too. And there's 3 more pairs right there for you. Sorry, Cal, you're probably getting left out of this one.
Yeah, because Cal may want to go with Stanford. If Stanford, academic, the academic and that kind of stuff. They might want to go with Stanford. Yeah, that's a good point you brought up. I wonder if you're the Big 12, why not swing for the fences and try to go get Washington as opposed to or you could split up those schools instead of going Washington State, or Arizona State. You could just split them up like Oklahoma State, just saying, you know what, we're not going to be rivals
and then go, we'll take Washington and Arizona, or we'll take Oregon and Arizona,
different markets.
I still think if he's trying to go the basketball route, Arizona is the school you want to get.
Okay,
because it is the blue blood of basketball. So I think that if you say, all right, if we want to go basketball and make the Big 12, then you want to get Arizona in. It's also closer. It's also a little bit easier, just of everything geographically.
Flights are going to be huge, man.
And that's what I say is once you get up to Oregon and Washington and all that, now you're okay. Now it's a bit more cross country. It's a bit more. So I think there could be a little bit more to say. Arizona just makes sense in a lot of ways. That's why I would keep saying them. But if they're not ready to make the jump, and Phil Knight is blowing up your phone, then you may be looking at Oregon. And if you go to Oregon, you go, well, I don't really want Washington State or Oregon State.
No.
So why don't I get Oregon and Washington?
I think that's what the Big Ten wants. They want a sugar daddy like Phil Knight and Washington, those brands. And they may try to go get Stanford and Cal and throw that in there, too, to get some partners with their USC, UCLA brands. It's just, guys, it is remarkable that a year ago we're having the conversation about which one of these conferences is going to end up being dissolving, essentially, because both were very fragile and unstable at the time. Brett Yarmark comes in, and through some really creative decisions, and I would say swift decisions, so he was making moves really quickly once he got there, he was able to stabilize the conference. And now when you think about it, man, the Pac-12, now, if you're just kind of looking, they also, remember, because of their academic standards, they said they didn't want to go after Oklahoma State's and Texas Tech's of the Big 12, and maybe even some other schools in the Big 12, maybe even Baylor or whatever. And I guess Baylor maybe academically is a little bit different, but there were some schools in the Big 12 they didn't want to go after because they didn't think they fit their academic standards. And
Which
now,
is crazy.
And that's when the Big 12 was unstable. As soon as Texas and Oklahoma left, Kliavkoff should have been on the phone, and he should have been trying to poach the Big 12, and he did not. And that also was a dang coaching mistake. Bad move.
Awful move for him. Awful move for him. And that is why this is, what do you always say? Coaching malpractice? This is leadership malpractice.
Commissioner malpractice.
This is commissioner malpractice because he let this thing fall apart. Maybe he wanted it to. Maybe his job, like you said, my parachute is I'm about to leave anyway, so y'all can go ahead and do whatever y'all want, and I'll just go away from here, retire like Bob Bowlesby, go do something totally different. But the fact of the matter is that you let this happen and didn't have a plan in place.
Come on, man.
Is awful business.
Yeah,
that is awful business.
You were ill-equipped for this job, and that was proven. You were exposed.
Yes.
You were exposed
quickly.
In the situation.
Quickly.
And not only that, because Brett Yarmark came on the scene, and he's so well equipped and qualified for the position and made some of those moves.
Checkers and chess, right? Isn't that the go-to? Checkers and chess.
I will tell you, we're talking about retiring. Kliavkoff's only 56 years old.
Yeah.
Bowlesby's 71, so he can retire.
Though.
I know, but 56 is a young time to leave in disgrace.
And I believe he's from the gambling. Like a bet.
I'm betting on him not having a job next year.
I want to say he's from a casino background or something. I forget where Kliavkoff was actually from. I got to go look, but he wasn't a traditional kind of through the bureaucracy hire for them.
He was at MGM Resorts.
MGM Resorts, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, he was an outside the box hire. So was Brett Yarmark. And I remember I always say, if you're looking for a house
always wins at those casinos.
That's true. So maybe he better go back there because apparently he was really successful doing that stuff. So he better
house
go back
always
there.
wins.
But when you're looking for someone in a high-profile leadership position like that of a commissioner of a major conference, you're either looking for a dinosaur or an alien.
Mm-hmm.
And Bowlesby he's an example of a dinosaur, right? This is a guy that's, old and wise, been around for a long time, knew the terrain, knew the ecosystem, had relationships to that ecosystem, had evolved really to it, but almost to the point where it was to his detriment. All right, where he was so comfortable in that position as the commissioner of the Big 12 in his bubble, he assumed, the Big 12 is safe because every member of the Big 12 is telling me how happy they are and that they're safe. And Brett Yormark, he's the alien. And the one advantage the alien has over the dinosaur in this brave new world, even though the dinosaur has been there forever and evolved to it, is the alien has perspective that the dinosaur will never have because they've never had a 30,000-foot view of their own world.
Like that.
And the alien has ideas that the dinosaur will always question and ask why, and the alien will say, why not? Because the alien is not from that world. That's Brett Yormark. He wasn't from that world, and he's got a Rucker Park exhibition tournament now
with the Big 12,
coaching clinic with the Big 12. He's going to have international games in Mexico City with Big 12 football and basketball. He's been doing this, and they got a combine. A Big 12, he's the first conference to have his own combine. He's going to have a Big 12 combine that's going to be on the NFL Network and stuff. This dude's working fast. And like I said, it's stuff that other commissioners haven't thought of because most of these commissioners, and I think now we're getting more outside the box guys, they're too ingrained in the kind of antiquated culture of college athletics. This guy is not.
Yeah.
And everything's changing so drastically and so quickly. An outside the box hire, an alien, is probably where you want to go. Because even the guys who were kind of brought up in the bureaucracy of major college athletics, it's changing faster than anything that they ever thought, and everything any knowledge that they ever had about it, that no longer applies. It's not applicable.
Right.
It's changing too quickly with the NIL transfer portal. Nobody can keep up. So just go get somebody right now that is comfortable in the chaos and they want to be a disruptor and not be disrupted. Kliavkoff, you got disrupted. All right, and Brett Yormark is a disruptor.
Yeah, they came in and took your lunch money. That's exactly what happened. You got bullied because you were missing the boat and you weren't prepared for what was happening because you wanted to believe that you had it under control. When you get a guy like Yormark who comes from a totally different background, like yourself, which you should have been able to pay attention. They're still building casinos.
That's why they hired you.
They are building casinos, and you are missing the mark on this. And for Yormark, he came from that world where it's always, let's hustle bustle, let's get this thing going, let's see what we can do. What is something that hasn't happened before? Oh, a basketball game at the Rucker Park. You know how we can do that, Jay-Z? Give me, because he's already got the connections.
He's got the connections.
He walked in that world already, so he understands, hey, they probably had these conversations like, you know what, we should probably have a game one time. Let's see who we could get in there. Now, all of a sudden, he has the position to do that, and basketball is that, so why not let's do it? Mexico. Everybody's trying to get to Mexico to build teams and travel. Why are you missing the mark on that? Because you're not thinking the way that the industry's going. And I love the fact about the NIL deal. Things are happening fast. We're adjusting to it. There's going to be a constant movement. That's just the evolution of sport.
Yeah.
So why is he not paying attention to this? And I'm still trying to figure out if I'm one of the 9 that is left, I'm trying to figure out what I can do next. Because this is not the answer. No matter who they bring in, you still don't have the cachet that all these other conferences have now created for themselves.
Yeah, it's amazing that the Big 12 lost 3 blue bloods essentially through realignment, and the Pac-12 lost 1, which basically is USC, and UCLA, I guess, in basketball is considered that too. But, man, the Big 12 is still more stable and in a better position now than the Pac-12 was. And the Big 12 lost a lot. The Big 12 lost Nebraska, got back Colorado, I guess, if they lost it, but lost
Texas
A&M, lost
Yep.
Texas, Oklahoma, Missouri. That's a lot to lose.
No. And Missouri's sitting over there like, we good.
We good.
I'm good.
You getting paid this big money.
I'm in this
man.
little spot right here. Nobody even talk about Missouri anymore. But you know what? We all right.
We go.
We're
We all
in a
right.
good conference.
It looks like that the Big 12 will get Colorado, but they are not done. Guarantee you after Colorado. And Colorado, like I said, I went over the numbers. They have not had a lot of success athletically in the Pac-12, and even monetarily, they haven't financially had a lot of success. So it's going to make a lot of sense for them coming back to the Big 12. They need to be, at least last time they were a successful program, that's back when Rod B was stomping on the 40 acres. They need to be closer to the state of Texas. That was their main recruiting base. It was their third. It was the most. I would say it was the nearest third-eye recruiting ground for them. And I know it's things like, oh man, they're a West Coast team. They were, but trust me, I went to a recruiting visit to Colorado. It was one of the 5 schools that I narrowed my choices down. Colorado was one of them. Rick Neuheisel was the coach at the time.
Rick Neuheisel.
And Colorado was an it program, guys. It was one of the sexiest, coolest programs. I was a 17-year-old, kid coming out. I'm trying to go to the coolest programs. I visited Florida State.
Highly touted.
You know what I mean?
Highly touted.
Yeah, I was thinking about going to what I thought were cool programs at the time, and Colorado was on that list because at the time, not only were the uniforms really cool, but they were a dominant powerhouse
Stewart
kind of football program.
Cordell Stewart was a beast.
Oh, he was. Remember, they beat us in the Big 12 title game while I was at Texas. They were still winning Big 12 titles at the time. And they got away from that, obviously. They are getting back to it with Deion, and not that Deion's bringing them back. He hasn't even coached a game just yet, so that still has yet to be determined whether he's going to bring them back on the field. But, guys, the IT program thing that I talked about when I was youngster, and they had kind of some influence in pop culture and in the sports world, I think that could be coming back for Colorado. How about this? They actually sold out tickets, the season tickets, for the first time in 27 years.
Right.
Sold out season tickets for the first time. They also sold out their spring game, too, which they never do because nobody cares about spring game. They sold out the spring game. And they had their biggest single game ticket selling day ever, I should say, when they announced Deion was going to be the head coach, and they sold like 11,000 tickets in one day. So, I mean, the excitement is building for Colorado, the football program. We'll see. But either way, it does fit the Big 12 because Yarmark has talked about how he wants the Big 12 to be at the nexus of pop culture and sports. And he brought up his time at Rock Nation. He's got concerts already that he's having before sporting events and different festivals. And honestly, Deion kind of fits that. Deion wants to be about pop culture, too.
Yeah.
Deion is at the nexus of pop culture and sports, and so is Brett Yarmark, and he wants the Big 12 to become that. Deion is the perfect ambassador for that philosophy right now. Yeah. Now, he may not be here in 5 years, but for right now, what the Big 12 is trying to do, he's a perfect acquisition.
Yeah. He is going to bring life to the program because think about it. How many times you want to talk to Mike Gundy?
Mm-hmm.
Sonny Dykes, great guy, not charismatic. Those guys are kind of like, meh, we just going to go out there, coach our ball team, and just go out there and make sure we're ready to play. Deion's going to be like, say, baby, we coming.
Yeah,
we coming, baby.
He's going to be out there dancing at the concert.
Exactly. Coming on stage with Rick Ross.
Exactly.
Just think of the narrative of the next Big 12 Media Days.
Oh,
where the narrative was, hey, you just lost the 2 biggest programs. What are your and now you're adding Colorado, probably some other programs, but Deion's walking into Big 12 Media Days and making that his own show.
Everybody's there.
Everybody's
there. Are they doing that in Arlington?
That's a brilliant point, bro.
That's where he's at. It's in Arlington.
So it's going to be where he's going to be like, oh, I remember when I was winning.
So is SEC Media Days, too.
Honestly, Patrick, you're so right. I didn't even think about that, but you're right. Nobody's going to be talking about Texas and Oklahoma being gone. It's going to be all about Deion putting on the show. And you know what? Deion will probably come in there with his own band. Like he'll have like a band, a drum major behind him. He'll bring like the Ocean of Soul or something with him.
Oh, he's going to bring in Jackson State.
Exactly.
He's going to call Jackson State. I owed y'all one. Come on.
Come on. Y'all hook y'all up, man. He'll bring. Trust me, he's going to put on the show. Patrick is so right about that. That's a great point. I think it's a great move for the Big 12. The Big 12 is not done. They're going to finish off the Pac-12, I think.
No doubt.
And I think the Big 10's going to come in and poach some, and that's it. That's all she wrote for the Pac-12. I have no idea what the remaining schools are going to decide to do. Maybe just go down to a G5 level. But this is the beginning of the end of the Pac-12. I don't see the light at the end of the tunnel for the Pac-12. Like, if they can't stop the bleeding, the only way to stop the bleeding is to get a deal done, a media rights deal done. They don't have a media rights deal done. So all the other schools are right now still flirting with other schools.
Not only that, they have 9 teams right now. They have 9 teams left in their conference. And to get anybody else, they're going to have to basically pay a buyout of whatever these other schools to get out of a contract, because who's leaving something else to go there? You can't take ACC because they're way too far away. So you have to try and poach from the Big 12, and who's leaving the Big 12 to go there?
Nobody.
Who's leaving Big 10? Who's leaving SEC? So you have to poach from smaller conferences that all have deals and you can't get anybody from. San Diego State, you couldn't even get to come because it was going to cost them too much money.
That's okay. Yeah, San Diego State backed out too. They were like,
It's a lot of money.
No, that was like, I think San Diego State was like that guy who said he had a scholarship and nobody even offered it to him. I think that's what San Diego State was.
like,
Shout out to my boy TC. TC Speaks. Love you, bro. But I don't think they were actually in that conversation. They were like, we playing.
They called their shot.
Yeah, they called.
hey,
And now, if you're the Pac-12, you might want to entertain it.
The San Diego
Exactly.
State thing, what apparently they said was they were like, hey, we need you to come over here. And they're like, wait. You say we got to pay like millions of dollars to get out of our TV deal now.
Yeah.
To go to y'all, and
Y'all
y'all
even
don't have
a TV deal.
I can't come over there with you got to give me some for sure.
Yeah. You can't pass up your for show for some mo.
And you end up with no.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
That is
bad
what they
business.
they were looking at like, wait a
Been
minute.
there.
That's exactly.
I'm gonna pull up to her house. She's gonna say her parents are out of town,
Yep.
and she's gonna be like, "But my uncle's here." You're like, come on.
Yeah, man. I don't know what Kliavkoff and the Pac-12 are going to do. Like I said, I don't see light at the end of the tunnel. I don't see a way out of this for them. But we'll see. Maybe they can pull off a miracle and keep the rest of those schools there intact, and then add another school. But still, you're still the weaker of the Power 5. Conferences. So it's only a matter of time. It is an inevitability that you're going to end up getting poached again by someone.
Right.
All right, so we'll get back to that story, but that's the big story in the Big 12 is that Colorado will be the newest member of the conference. All right, we come back. I want to get into, actually, there's a lesson to be learned from a recent retirement in the NFL. Went under the radar. Nobody cares about it, but I'll give you a reason to care about this nondescript retirement. It's an age-old lesson that all football coaches need to know. All that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie, Wonderful on the Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. Let's talk about the city of Austin. We all love it so much we call it home because it is a beautiful city, thanks in no small part to the skilled craftsmanship of Ironworkers Local Union 482. They don't go to the office, they build it. So if you're looking for an exciting new career, you can become a valued member of Ironworkers Local 482 and take pride in the type of teamwork and craftsmanship that helps shape the future of our great city. Right now, they're hiring over 3,000 people for a huge project right here in Central Texas, and you can become a member of Ironworkers Local 482. And like I said, you'll be able to help shape the future of our great city. So go online at ironworkers482.org. That's ironworkers482.org. And you can reach out to them and explore the numerous possibilities of working for such a prestigious company like Ironworkers Local 482. You see the labors of their love all over this great city and iconic landmarks that you may be driving by right now and not even know it, like DeCare Stadium and the Pennybacker Bridge. They don't go to the office, they build the office. So if you're looking for an exciting new career path, maybe you're frustrated with your work choices and you want something new, something fresh, something that will challenge you, you can become a valued member of Ironworkers Local 482. Just reach out today at ironworkers482.org. That's ironworkers482.org. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Time for Rod's Rant of the Day. We'll get back to a lot of NFL news, notes, and nuggets. As a matter of fact, another NFL story that is right now breaking is that Jalen Ramsey is probably going to miss the start of the NFL season. He's having a procedure done on one of his knees. So he's gonna miss start of the season. They have not been specific as to what the timeline is going to be. They did say his ACL is intact, but he's going to miss the start of the season. It's a team I picked to win that division. That ain't good. It's not good news for him.
It's just a start, man.
It
It's
is
okay.
a start of
Long
season.
season. Long season.
It is a long season.
Somebody else will have to deal with it as well.
Yeah. Other injury news is that Joe Burrow has a calf injury of some kind to start training camp, so he'll probably end up being out for a little while too.
Diana Rossini tweeted out just 2 minutes ago that it is confirmed to be a strained calf.
Good. That's no, not good, but it's
you know,
better
like
than
everybody else.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly right. Because Donovan Wilson for the Cowboys out 4 to 6 weeks with a
Strained
strained calf. I believe C.J. Gardner Johnson. It was a
Yep.
calf injury for him too. Very weird. Like you said, I don't know. Maybe guys don't stretch the calf.
I'm like, man, they don't do leg day?
I stretch my
Stretch your
before I go
calf, dog.
run. I stretch my calves.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not stretching the calves. Maybe I'm sure they're stretching the calves, but
They gotta be doing
Got to be
something.
something going on. Okay. We'll get back to some more NFL discussion. As a matter of fact, top of the 6 o'clock, we'll talk NFL. Sean Payton taking shots at Nathaniel Hackett. We'll read those quotes. And Robert Saleh has already responded to Sean Payton's comments. And now, week 5, the Jets on the road at the Broncos. To me, it's must-watch television. And I found a nice little nugget as to why Aaron Rodgers may be a little reluctant to talk trash to Sean Payton. And there's some evidence that Sean Payton has got some inside info on Aaron Rodgers.
Come on, man.
I'll share that with you when we talk about it in 6 o'clock. Okay, let's get to this story because, like I said, it's a nondescript story and nobody cares about it, but I'll give you a reason to care. John Ross, remember that name?
Yeah, the wide receiver.
Yes.
Yeah,
Wide
fast.
receiver.
One of the fastest dudes out there, 4.2, 4.3.
He set the record.
Yeah,
He set the
combine guy.
record for the fastest 40 time in combine history. He ran a 4.22 and was drafted 9th overall in the 2017 draft by
Cincinnati.
Cincinnati.
I thought.
He was playing with the Chiefs last time, I think, last team he was with, but he was playing for Cincinnati initially. That's who he was drafted by. He made, I think, $19.2 million in his career since he entered the league in 2017. He had 62 catches in his entire career.
Yeah.
Now $311,000 per catch. So hey, good. I'm glad he retired.
That's good work if you can find it,
Yeah,
right?
and you know what? He probably could have tried to make a roster or something. They expanded the practice squad rules this year, so older veterans can even be on a practice squad. I'm sure he could have gotten a check this year from somebody. He's deciding to hang it up. He's like, man, I'm done. Like, I'm done with it. I'm moving on. And the lesson to be learned here from John Ross and his career. And you got to tell scouts this over and over again, and you got to tell NFL coaches this over and over again. You know, speed should be just a data point, and it's an important data point, but still just one data point in your overall evaluation of a receiver. A fast 40 does not, make a great wide receiver.
Man, he cold because he ran a 4.5.
Yeah, and usually that happens. It's like it seems like all the liabilities in their skill set and all the negative things about their skill set are overlooked once you get the fast 40. And Michael Irvin throws this stat out there all the time, and now they've updated because Randy Moss is now in the Hall of Fame. He's the only sub 4.3 wide receiver in the Hall of Fame.
He's the only one?
Randy Moss.
Wow.
That's the Michael Irvin claims.
Yeah.
It's a Michael Irvin factoid for you, keeping up with wide receivers in the Hall of Fame. And
that's probably, he's like, man, I'm got to see who's the fastest.
If you go look at the top 25 fastest receivers in combine history, the top fastest receivers in combine history, all right, and go look at how many of them basically ended up with 1,000-yard campaigns, how many of them do you think there are? Out of the top 25.
10?
1.
What?
1.
Who is it?
Santana Moss.
Oh, he was cold.
He was cold.
Santana Moss was, and he's somebody that nobody even really pays attention to
Yes.
unless you was really in the game.
Yeah. If you take the top, I think Dante Stallworth is right on the edge of that too.
I was
and
going
I
to
think
say,
he's
because I
one.
thought
So that might
Dante
be two.
was flying. Yeah.
So it might be two, but it's not a lot. Trust me.
Yeah.
If
It's
you
not
just take
10.
the fastest guys,
It's not 10.
because if you go look at the top 25 fastest combine times, and look at the wide receiver position, all right, at those fastest combine times for wide receivers, if you go look at it, the best out of that group is, like I said, Marquise Goodwin, Dante Stallworth, Darius Hayward-Bay may be in that conversation, and I think Santana Moss is probably one of the best ones. If you look at top 25 fastest wide receivers at the combine, Santana Moss, as I just mentioned, he's the one got your 1,000 yards receiving. But it's not, like I said, it's usually not necessarily a really productive group of wide receivers once they get to the NFL level. But like I said, I love Dante Stallworth, but he never had 1,000 yards. He had 945.
I can't, man.
So like I said,
So
I
the
know
number
everybody's got a
we're
lot
trying
of
to-
belief about it, but
Right.
there's only one receiver out of the top 25 fastest wide receivers at the combine that's even got 1,000 yards receiving in his career.
That's interesting.
No, it's just
That's
it makes perfect sense.
That's
It's scouts and coaches overlooking the negative data points in their evaluation wide receivers once they get a confirmed sub 4.3. They overlook all the other negative aspects of their skill set. And the truth is, being a wide receiver is more about the art of route running than anything else. And the art of route running is just creating separation. And it's been my experience, because I went up against a lot of wide receivers, that every wide receiver achieves separation differently.
Yeah,
They all
yeah.
got a different way of doing it. Some
Whether
guys can
it's
do it with a 4.
leverage, yeah.
Exactly. Jerry Rice ran a 4.7.
Yeah.
All right, so there are guys
And
can,
never got caught.
yeah, and then I think he ran it again and ran a 4.5. But Jerry Rice wasn't necessarily fast. And there are lots of different, examples of that. I always say it reminds me of the example I gave about, wide receiver speed. It's kind of like being well endowed. That alone does not make you a great lover. You know what I mean? Now, there are a lot of the things you got to do to be a great lover. It helps to have attention to detail, to be able to multitask. You got to be considerate to the other person and their feelings, all that kind of stuff. Now, being well endowed helps, but it doesn't necessarily guarantee that you're going to be a great lover. And wide receiver speed's the same way. Just because you're exceptionally fast does not mean you're going to be a great route runner, therefore a great wide receiver. And I think a lot of the times they automatically assume, oh, man, they're well endowed, they're definitely going to be a great lover. Not the case.
No, that's
Women will tell you that too. All right? Size of the boat, motion in the ocean, that kind of thing.
Well,
I'm
and
not
two-
talking from experience. I'm just saying for others.
And two, everybody assumes that you can coach anybody anything.
Yes, that is also the case.
Where they go, well, if he's fast, I can teach him.
I like that one, Patrick.
I can teach him
boy.
how to do it.
Yeah.
And
Boy,
you're like,
RB is over here.
Yeah.
and you're like, well, he hasn't learned it in the last 8 years.
Yeah.
What makes you think that in the next 2 he's going to pick it up? And I know you think you got better coaches, but if he
They
has
always
not got
do.
it in the last 8,
Everybody thinks that they are the ones that can
That's
fix
true.
it.
It's a lot of, you're right, there's a lot
Everybody
of
thinks
hubris and arrogance among NFL
Yeah.
coaches too.
Oh, he couldn't do this. I can get him to do it. I
Yeah.
can get him. He just was with the wrong
Someone
team.
says, what about Tyreek Hill? He didn't go to the combine, remember?
Yeah, he got in trouble.
He got in trouble. So he did
Yeah.
a pro day. He didn't go to the combine. So I'm talking about
Yeah.
at the combine. No, Tyreek Hill is actually one of the examples of a guy that the speed actually on the field, it does translate to his route running. And so there are exceptions to every rule, of course. But
Right.
for the most part, don't necessarily think because a guy is fast that makes him a great wide receiver. I mean, wide receivers in the NFL right now, there's a lot of good ones, but not all of them are speedsters
Right.
by any stretch. They're just great route runners. And most of those guys are probably 4.4, mid
Yeah.
4.4.
Well, I'm with you on the route running part of it, because if you can run a good route, crisp route, making sure that you get the right separation, whether it's leverage, whether it is the speed.
Exactly.
There's so many different ways to get there. I'm with you on that. I'm definitely with you on that.
Yeah. So, no, like I said, there are exceptions to the rule. Not saying that there aren't exceptions to the rule, but there are. All right, we come back, we'll get into what may be the biggest story that nobody's discussing right now in the sports, well, not sports world. No, nobody's talking about the sports world, but in pop culture or really anywhere. We should be talking about this. It should be the top topic of conversation everywhere in America, and it's not. So we'll make it our conversation for Off the Record on the other side, right here on Ball Don't Lie, 149 Horn. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It is a new theme Thursday, a sentimental new theme Thursday. That's usually when Patrick plays jams that are supposed to provide Harge and I with clues and hints as to what the new theme of the day is. We got it pretty quickly, and so did you guys on the Specs text line. It's all about the finale, the end of things, the last dance, closure, because our beautiful show is coming to an end. It's sad, but it's all right. We had a damn good time.
He gone.
You ain't here for, here for a long time, but
Just be here for
make
a
sure
good
you're here for a
time.
good time.
That's
Damn
right.
right.
Yeah, and we get the great song from Motley Crue. Don't go away mad, just go away.
Just go
Yeah, I
away.
like that. There you go. I like that. That's pretty good.
Hey, man, don't speak to everybody.
Some people probably are mad about it. It's okay. It's
100%.
It's all right if you're mad. You feel how you want to feel about it. You're entitled to have
Exactly.
your own feelings about what's going on. Okay, how about this, guys? So I don't know if you guys are keeping up with this, but there's been a House Oversight and Accountability Subcommittee on National Security, and they're basically the hearing is about what they call UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomenon, and UFOs. This is a real congressional hearing. I'm not making this stuff up at all. It's actually happening. And I believe the gentleman who is speaking, who is being questioned here, is David Grush. He's a former National Reconnaissance Office representative on the Defense Department's Unidentified Aerial Phenomenon Task Force. I guess his official title. But he's been asked about a number of different things, and I believe the first question, or at least an audio piece that we have here, the first question will be asked by the representative. Is her name? She's actually becoming really popular too. Harge even showed me a clip of her. Representative Mace from South Carolina. Nancy Mace is her name.
Nancy Mace, like Nancy Grace.
Yes, and they're asking this guy because apparently he was involved. He was one of the members of this task force that was investigating UAPs and UFOs and alien extraterrestrials and alien life. It sounds made up, but it's not. So here is a little audio snippet of her questioning this government representative.
With experts, do you believe our government has made contact with intelligent extraterrestrials?
Something I can't discuss in public setting.
Okay, I can't ask when you think this occurred. If you believe we have crashed craft, stated earlier, do we have the bodies of the pilots who piloted this craft?
As I've stated publicly already in my News Nation interview, biologics came with some of these recoveries. Yeah.
Were they, I guess, human or non-human biologics?
Non-human, and that was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the program I talked to that are currently still on the program.
And was this documentary evidence, this video, photos, eyewitness? Like, how would that be determined?
The specific documentation I would have to talk to you in a skiff about.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. So, and you may or may not be able to answer my last question, and maybe we get into a skiff at the next hearing that we have, but who in the government, either what agency, sub-agency, what contractors, who should be called into the next hearing about UAPs, either in a public setting or even in a private setting? And you probably can't name names, but what agencies or organizations, contractors, et cetera, do we need to call in to get these questions answered, whether it's about funding, what programs are happening, and what's out there?
I can give you a specific cooperative and hostile witness list of specific individuals that were in those.
And how soon can we get that list?
I'm happy to provide that to you after the hearing.
Super. Thank you. And I yield back.
Okay, so that's the first clip. The next clip is another. I think it's the same guy here, David Grush, being questioned, but it's another representative that's questioning him, and I believe it's Mr. Burchett, if I'm not mistaken. The questions get a little bit more. No. The answers, I say, get a little bit more diabolical. Here is the audio.
Do you have any personal knowledge of people who have been harmed or injured in efforts to cover up or conceal these extraterrestrial technology?
Yes. Personally.
Have anyone been murdered that you would that you know of or have heard of, I guess?
I have to be careful asking that question. I directed people with that knowledge to the appropriate authorities.
I think the answer's supposed to be no. I don't know if anybody's been murdered to cover up the existence of extraterrestrial life on Earth. And he said, nah, I can't really answer that.
I truly believe that we're living in a SNL
is
skit.
going on,
This
man?
is a Saturday Night Live skit.
Good Lord.
It has to be.
I think they figured out that they're like, look, we talk about immigrants and half the population doesn't care anymore, and we talk about religion, half the population doesn't care.
Yeah.
You know what that population wants? Aliens. Talk about aliens, and they'll distract them, and we can go do what we do behind the scenes.
Oh, my goodness. Wow.
Unbelievable.
It is unbelievable.
I just love, I have friends that do not trust a single word the government has said for 50 years. And they believe every single word that was said on this hearing. like this was like you just heard the clips, like they're reading, they just go, no, but I mean, of course we have bodies of aliens. Of course, every like that no one's ever happened in Africa or in Europe or anywhere else. No, everybody's kept it a secret. No, I have to live in this mind that America. They just came here. They were like, well, aliens speak English. We all know that. So it was here or England.
Well, they can read our mind. That's part of it.
Oh, that's what it is.
Forget that. They can read our minds as well.
Yeah.
All right, so just before we move on here, just simple question. Do you believe or do you disbelieve that there is alien life on the planet right now in some form or fashion, either deceased or alive?
I'm not at liberty to say right now, but I could tell you.
If we got in a skiff, we could talk about this.
I was like, I'll give you what I find
You
my
might
basis.
get murdered too. Don't worry about it.
I can tell you what my findings are after the show. I'm not going to be able to give that to you right now.
You going to conspiracy theory mode?
I'm
what about you, Patrick?
just going to see what happens.
I love unsolved mysteries as much as anybody else.
Man.
Can we get Robert Wool to do this? Is he still around?
You should get that. Oh yeah, that music in the background. What's it? I used to get that with Unsolved Mysteries. The music. That's always scared me as a kid back in the day. I was like, oh no, something scary is about to come on. I would say this. There's a great theory. I think it's called the Great Filter Theory, if I'm not mistaken. Essentially, there are scientists that believe that if an alien species is organized and advanced enough to travel through space and time potentially to get to Earth, then they're way more advanced than we are, right? And just to take our own society as the only example that we have to kind of study, what human nature, but just the nature of living conscious things, we are constantly in a cycle of kind of self-destruction as a society. Like we just basically trying to destroy ourselves
every day,
whether it be through nuclear weapons or shooting at each other or destroying our own planet. We're in this cycle. And the belief is that aliens don't exist because if they're anything like us, they'll destroy themselves way before they ever reach the level of advancement where they can travel through space and time. They don't have the ability to do it or they have the desire to do it. They do, but if they're like us, they'll kill themselves and destroy themselves as a society way before they ever do that. And that's, I think, the theory, the Great Filter Theory, is that, yeah, they existed, but they didn't reach Earth because they destroyed themselves in the process through their own self-destructive nature.
Right.
If they're like us. If they're like us. Hopefully they're not like us.
I'm not at liberty to tell you what I found, but I know that things are going down.
Oh, I love that. All right, we come back. We'll get into Sean Payton. I wonder if he believes in aliens. We'll get into that. We'll talk about how he's taking shots at Nathaniel Hackett and the response and retort by Robert Saleh. All of that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. Let's talk about Austin, Texas, a beautiful city that keeps attracting more and more people every day. That's okay, because it just makes the economy better, makes the city better. And one thing you may not realize is that beautiful, unique aesthetic appeal you've come to enjoy from Austin's skyline and Austin, Texas in general is thanks to the skilled craftsmanship of ironworkers, local Union 482. A lot of it. They've been helping shape Great Austin for a long time, since 1935. And you see the labors of their love everywhere, all over this great city. you may be driving by right now and not even know it, like DKR Stadium and the Pennybacker Bridge. And as the city continues to grow and thrive, so does Ironworkers Local Union 482. They don't go to the office, they build it. So if you're looking for an exciting new career, you want something fresh, you want something new, something that will challenge you, and you're tired of being, disregarded, you want to be valued as an employee, you can become a valued member of Ironworkers Local 482 and accept the challenge of becoming the best version of yourself while helping shape Austin's economic development. Right now, they're hiring over 3,000 people for a huge project right here in Central Texas, and you can become a member of Ironworkers Local 482 and take pride in the type of teamwork and craftsmanship that helps shape the future of our great city. So maximize your potential and be your best self today. Simply apply at ironworkers482.org. That's ironworkers482.org. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Yes, I expected to hear this song yesterday for midweek movie music because Boomerang was the featured film, and this song is on the Boomerang soundtrack. Matter of fact, it's the only place you can find it. Actually, they don't have it on one of their albums. It's only on the Boomerang soundtrack.
They've since put it out.
Have they since put it on there? But
Yes.
At the time, you couldn't get it anywhere except on that soundtrack.
It was originally on there, and then they were like,
it's
guys,
too popular.
Yeah, this is too popular. We got to make some more money off this.
Yeah, no, it did. It was like, that's why I bought the damn soundtrack. It was because of that song. And I was like, damn, they can't get it anywhere else. So I had to buy it. And today, of course, New Theme Thursday, that's when Patrick plays jams that are intended to provide us with clues and hints as to what the new theme of the day is. And yes, it is the end of the road. Last days, finales, the closing time.
Yeah.
We didn't get that one either. Closures, any song referencing the end, because that's what's happening to Ball Don't Lie. It's ending.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. Don't be sad that it's over. Be happy that it happened. And I think we're all happy that it happened. All right, so don't worry about that, folks. So New Theme Thursday, thanks to my man Patrick, always hooking us up. Very sentimental New Theme Thursday. But don't worry, if you're feeling a little bit down, this story will pick you right on up.
It's definitely going to pick you up.
It's such a great story. Man, the NFL. That's how you know being close to the football season. NFL is just a gift that just keeps on giving, don't it? Mm-hmm. Okay, so it was apparently Sean Payton was feeling really comfortable when he did this interview because he recently sat down with a reporter from USA Today, and this story, like I said, broke early this morning. He said, now I think it's Jarrett Bell is his name, the USA Today reporter. And it's a long story, and he goes into, in depth about a lot of different things. But some of the quotes, I'll just read like 4 quotes from it that specifically mention a team and a coach on that team. So Sean Payton is feeling himself. So here's the first quote. And he just talks about, the Russell Wilson regression last season. He was asked about that. Here's what he's had to say. Oh, man, there's so much dirt around that. There's 20 dirty hands for what was allowed, tolerated in the freaking training rooms, the meeting rooms, the offense. I don't know Hackett. A lot of people had dirt on their hands. It wasn't just Russell. He didn't just flip. He still has it. This BS that he hit a wall, shoot. They couldn't get a play in. They were 29th in the league in pre-snap penalties on both sides of the ball. All right, he went on to talk about these preferential treatment that Russell Wilson got, bringing in his own trainer and bringing his own quarterback coach and having his own office away from the locker room. He said about that, quote, that wasn't his fault. That was the persons who allowed it, the parents who allowed it. That's not an incrimination on him, but an incrimination on the head coach, the GM, the president, and everybody else who watched it all happen. Man, he said, now a quarterback having an office and a place to watch film is normal, but all those things get magnified when you're losing, and that other stuff, I've never heard of it. We're not doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Here's another quote. He was asked about the team doing things differently now, and he said, quote, that was a message. He said, they can only beat the blank out of you so much, but everybody's got a little stink on their hands. It's not just Russell. It was a poor offensive line. It might have been one of the worst coaching jobs in the history of the NFL. That's how bad it was. And here's the other quote. He ain't done. He's got a lot of this,
I know.
man.
He turned up.
There's plenty of smoke.
He's in his bag right now.
Man, he's bringing that smoke. He also said, it doesn't happen often where an NFL team or organization gets embarrassed, and that happened here. Part of it was their own fault relative to spending so much time trying to win the offseason, the PR, the pomp and circumstance, marching people around and all this stuff. We're not doing any of that. The Jets did that this year. You watch. Hard Knocks, all of it. I can see it coming. Remember when Dan Snyder put the dream team together? I was at the Giants in 2000. I was a young coach. I thought, how are we going to compete with them? Deion Sanders there now. That team won 8 games or whatever. So listen, just put the work in.
Say it loud for the people in the back. Said it with his chest. What's up with that?
Did he add, and another thing?
Right? Yeah. Okay, last one.
One more thing. And one more thing.
This is quick. He did say in regards to how different things are now with his regime compared to last season with Nathaniel Hackett, he said, quote, "Everything I heard about last season, we're doing the opposite." Like, to me, like I said, he was borderline close to making a Seinfeldian Costanza reference on that about the opposite. Because who else talks about the opposite of the opposite? That's a Seinfeld reference.
Try the opposite. Instead of tuna salad and being intimidated by women, chicken salad and going right up to them.
Yeah, I should do the opposite. I should.
If every instinct you have is wrong, then the opposite would have to be right.
Yes. I will do the opposite. I used to sit here and do nothing and regret it for the rest of the day. So now I will do the opposite, and I will do something.
Okay. So they're going to do the opposite. Hopefully it works out better as well as it did for George Costanza. Also, Robert Saleh, since Robert Saleh is the coach of the Jets, Jets. He did hire Nathaniel Hackett this past offseason. Here's what he had to say when he was asked about Sean Payton's comments.
Well, I'm not going to acknowledge Sean on that. He's been in the league a while. He can say whatever the hell he wants. But as far as, what we have going on here, it's, I kind of live by saying, if you ain't got no haters, you ain't popping. So hate away. It's obviously we're doing something right if you got to talk about us when we don't play you till week 4. And I'm good with it, But, the guys in our locker room, they've earned everything that's coming to them. And really excited about what's going on. I think Hackett's doing a phenomenal job here. The coaching staff is doing a phenomenal job, and we're focused on us. I get it. There's a lot of external noise. There's a lot of people who are hating on us. There's a lot of people looking for us to fail. There's a lot of crows pecking at our neck. But all you can do is spread your wings, keep flying high until those crows fall off and suffocate from the inability to breathe. It's a whole other analogy I'll get into later. But really, really, really excited about the group we have, the coaching that's going on, and but I'm going to keep our focus on us and making sure that we're prepared every single day to do the best we can and learn from our past and grow with every moment that we have.
When was the last time you heard an NFL coach, and I guarantee you this is the first time you heard an NFL coach say, if you ain't got no haters, then you ain't popping?
Man, look.
That's my coach right there.
We need to put it on a shirt. Right. I need to put that on a shirt.
If you ain't got no haters, you ain't popping. It's like, is that a rap lyric?
That feels like something Sauce told him.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. For
Coach,
sure.
if you ain't got no haters, you ain't popping.
Yeah.
That's great.
Coach, you good. You good.
Okay, now.
But he said it with some flavor, so he had it, because, there's a different one. Because if he did just hear it from Sauce, he was like, I don't know. The kids are saying that.
He didn't say like Mike McCarthy?
No, he didn't say it like Mike McCarthy.
Like Chad Hastings? If you don't have any haters, then you're not popping.
Did I say it right? What is a grip? What is a grip?
If you don't have any dislikers.
I like it.
That was great. Okay, so, guys, we know now this is going to aggravate, motivate, upset, disgruntle Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
Because he and Nathaniel Hackett are BFFs.
They partners.
They are really close.
Yep.
Matter of fact, Aaron Rodgers, the day he was announced as the Jets quarterback, the media availability, he went out of his way to say, no, one of the reasons I signed here, one of the main reasons, is my boy Nathaniel Hackett.
Well, I'm not going to acknowledge Sean on that. Well, I'm not.
They smoked us last year, so I knew they had a good team. We got to practice them a couple years ago, and I got to get to know Robert a little bit more. And I've always loved what he's all about. We played him in San Fran a few times, and mostly they got the best of us. But I liked the way that he was leading, his coaching style. A big reason I'm here, I got to mention, is Nathaniel Hackett, who's here. Hack and I became really close friends for 3 years in Green Bay, and I love him like a brother, and I believe in him, and I'm really happy to be back working with him again. Obviously, Joe has got a great track record so far of drafting some incredible players, but it takes a system, and obviously Robert has the right sauce, so I'm excited about getting to work with him and Brick and Marquand, former teammate of mine, and It's a great staff, but I'm an old guy, so I want to be a part of a team that can win it all, and I believe that this is a place we can get that done.
All right, Aaron Rodgers. Also, sidebar here, big fan of hip-hop. I learned that his favorite rappers are B.I.G. and 50 Cent. Said he's into the 90s, 2000s hip-hop. No,
Aaron Rodgers?
Aaron Rodgers, actually.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And I bet him and his BFF, Nathaniel Hackett, I bet one of the things they vibe over is hip-hop.
You mean Hack?
Whatever his name is. Because Nathaniel Hackett was once, I think, he maybe still is, a breakdance enthusiast. Oh, yeah. We have evidence.
Your mother also put you in breakdancing at the age of 5?
Yes, she did. I loved the movie Breakin'. It was my favorite movie ever. And I was a breakdancer for Halloween, probably like 5 years in a row. My parents would always have me put shows on in front of people.
So when you're in college and if you're daydreaming, you want to be a football player or you want to be a hip-hop dancer?
Oh, gosh, I would go crazy if I could backup dance for Timberlake, Janet Jackson, all that.
Ciara?
I've asked her to be a backup dancer in her video numerous times.
You're not serious?
Oh, yeah, I have. I saw her video that came out. I was like, okay, I might not be able to do all that, but I can get about 50% of it.
So you seriously mentioned this to Ciara? She knows you've done hip-hop?
I was more excited to meet her than I was Russell.
Hey, there we go.
Yeah.
Nathaniel Hackett.
You're going to learn how to break dance on this game on the 5th?
It's
the fifth game.
Jets at Broncos, Week 5, ladies and gentlemen. Must-watch television. I know you didn't give a damn about this game prior to today, but I got to tell you, I'm going out of my way to go somewhere to watch this matchup. And it might be a terrible matchup, but I love trash talk before any type of matchup. This is basically, they're promoting the Jets-Broncos game. If you're Commissioner Goodell, you got to love this. It's kind of the NBA-ification of the NFL where you get petty, but I'm here for it. I'm here for the pettiness. It's petty.
It is all pettiness now.
Let me ask you this. If the Jets win, can Nathaniel Hackett break dance in center field?
Oh, I prayed. That's going to be so good. Yes. Let's make it happen. In the locker room, at least. Get video of it in the locker room.
No, I want him in front of Sean Payton. One of the dance of Sean Payton's
That would be kind of wild right there.
Break it out right there in front of Sean.
And they do Electric Boogaloo because I watched Breaking back in the day.
He just walks out there with the broom.
Part of that.
He walks out there with the broom like the end of the movie.
Yep, and then start doing it from side to side when Turbo comes in there.
Man.
Brings out Kelly. Yeah, wow. I know what's happening.
That would be fantastic. I am hoping that works out. But, yeah, man, I like I said, I'm all for it. I remember I was telling you guys about the numbers for the national championship game for the women's college basketball when it was it LSU and Iowa?
Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese.
I mean, they got, I believe it was 9.9 million viewers.
Yeah, I watched
for
that game too.
We all did.
We all watched that game.
Everybody watched that game. And the reason we watched it is because there had been so much trash talk. Even like Haley Van Lythe, I believe is her name?
Yeah.
She was one of the ones, all the ladies were talking trash to each other and taunting one another. And it was so compelling, and it got everybody hyped to watch women's college basketball. 9.9 million viewers. Perspective, it was more than the Sugar Bowl, the Orange Bowl, and the Cotton Bowls, more than the Big 12, Pac-12, ACC title games, Notre Dame, USC, LSU, Bama, Texas A&M, primetime, Ohio State, Penn State. All right. Man, I'm saying it had better ratings than the 2023 Thursday Night Football games, 2021 NBA Finals, the 2020 World Series.
Yeah.
All because Angel Reese started doing the "You Can't See Me," the yayo.
Yeah,
all right, John Cena,
yayo.
Yeah. John Cena, "You Can't See Me," and then the world kind of lost their mind with the trash talk. So trash talk can promote. That's why all the fights before a fight, a UFC or a boxing match, they're always trash talking and promoting. That's all it is. It's just promoting the fight.
Yeah,
that's it.
That is a great way of looking at it, and you start looking at this. This matchup, we've already got the hype because it's Aaron Rodgers that is going to be there.
Yep.
Then you got Russell Wilson who needs to get his life together. I'm talking about on the football field. Life off the field is really good for Russ, but on the field, he's got to redeem himself. And then you got the mastermind of Sean Payton being the offensive guru, and you have Robert Saleh as the defensive coordinator.
I like that.
Man, this is a great matchup. But I wish it was great. I wish it was week 1, though.
Yeah, week 5. So, we'll see how the teams are at that point. But it's still early enough where, even if they have a losing record by then, you can't say that the season is forsaken.
No.
Yeah, so I was
because the Jets have a tough schedule from the very rip.
And
they play Cowboys week 2.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to see the Jets, so they're on a ton of primetime games because everybody wants. They're the most compelling story in the NFL right now, and the NFL always says the NFL is the number one television product in America, and the Dallas Cowboys are the number one TV star on the number one television product in America. And right now, the Jets are probably the most compelling television star on the number one TV product. You put those two together, that might be the highest rated game of the season, actually.
Yep.
Now that I think about it, that might end up being the highest rated game of the NFL season. The Jets and the Cowboys?
Yeah.
How are we going to get more compelling than that?
I don't see it happening.
I don't see anything
I've
more
been a big
compelling than
fan
that,
of it
right?
all the way.
Cowboys and Jets, Blackstrom's prediction, that will be the highest rated game of the season. It's not even close, actually. I think
like
it's pretty
that.
easy.
I like that.
Maybe late in the season
That's
you get two, I don't know, just two juggernauts. But
well, especially now with the injuries that we've had coming out.
That's
so
true.
You got to look at that, too. It may get to that number if everybody's healthy by that time. But if it's at the end of the year, I know that you were he was talking about the Chiefs and the Vikings, but you also might have the Chiefs and the Bengals, too. That game is always one of the most watched games out there, too.
it is. This is why there's a reason Sean Payton is living rent-free in Aaron Rodgers' head right now. And Aaron Rodgers won't tell you that, and he won't admit it. But I'll give you the numbers, and I'll give you the situation. So remember Hurricane Ida in that last season for Sean Payton. I think that's 2021. Was that it? And Hurricane Ida hit New Orleans, and they couldn't play their season. They couldn't play that season opener in New Orleans. They had to play it somewhere else, even though it was a home game for them. The NFL gave them the option, hey, you need to decide to pick where you want to play. And there are only so many options because there are only so many stadiums that can, handle NFL capacity. But also you need to do it sooner rather than later because, we need to get contingency plans ready to go about where you guys are going to play. So the NFL requires all games to be played in NFL stadiums. Keep that in mind, too. So you can't just go play it, we'll play in that college stadium. No, you got to play it in an NFL stadium because of replay communication. So a lot of variables in there. So Sean Payton, who is a great damn coach.
He does a lot of research.
With the Saints practicing at TCU in Fort Worth, their first choice was AT&T Stadium in Arlington since the Cowboys opened the season in Tampa that year, and the Saints were hosting the Packers on September 12th, but the Cowboys Stadium was hosting a concert or something there, and they had already ruled it out. So Jeff Duncan of the Times Picayune, he actually reported the Saints considered like a ton of different data and for this. And essentially, they arrived at playing in Jacksonville at their temporary home stadium. And the reason was, and I've told this story, I told it after that actually happened in 2021. I've been telling it ever since, so it's probably why you've heard it. So if you heard it before, just bear with me. So at the time, when they decided they would play in Jacksonville, all three Florida stadiums were available to play. So they actually went through and looked at the state's heat and humidity index in history to try to find out what the heat and humidity were going to be that day. They looked up Aaron Rodgers' record in Florida. At the time, discovered he was 3-4 in his career games there and had a 78.1 passer rating. So they began looking up. We're definitely going to choose Florida. Florida not only has the capacity to do it, but they got open stadiums, and Aaron Rodgers sucks for some reason when he plays in Florida. And they also figured that they looked up flights for Packers fans, and they found the toughest basic location for Packers fans to get to was Jacksonville. Was getting down there to Florida. They said that would be the toughest place for Packers fans to get to, so they don't have to worry about Packers fans filling up the stadium to try to get to see Aaron Rodgers and support Aaron Rodgers. And after all that, the Packers came to the conclusion, all right, you know what, we're going to play in Jacksonville. Here's the result of all that research they did. The passer rating, this is right at the time, so 2 years ago, passer rating for Aaron Rodgers was 36.8. His total QBR was 13.4. His interception, even though he's the all-time interception rate leader in the NFL, he threw 2 picks. He didn't have a touchdown at all, even though he's, I think, 8th all-time in touchdown rates, top 10 there too. And if you go look at his, just like his stats from that day, it was basically one of his worst games of his professional career. It was, or you could make the argument that it was only 2 games that he had in his career up until that point that he had a lower passer rating or a less efficient stats. And it happened in 2014. I think it was like week 6 of 2020. But other than that, this was one of his bottom 5 worst performances of his career. And trust me, he remembers it well. He remembers it. And Sean Payton thinks he's got a little book, a little strategy, a little game plan on how to neutralize Aaron Rodgers. So that's another little added element to it, too.
That's what I'm saying. He's so deep. That's
is.
why he's over there throwing barbs, because he knows.
I love me some Sean Payton.
He understands how to get to Aaron Rodgers.
I think he does. He believes that anyway. Whether it's true or not, who knows?
Right.
That last season for Sean Payton in New Orleans, I think they were 9-8. Barely missed the playoffs. Might have been one of his most impressive coaching jobs.
It was his best, to me, coaching job.
People forget, not only did they have the Hurricane Ida stuff to deal with, it just brought up, they ended up beating Green Bay 38-3 in that game in Jacksonville, even though they were displaced. Remember, Drew Brees retired in March of that year. Retired early on. I don't know if it took him by surprise or not, but he retired. They had to gut the roster. They shaved $11 million off the salary cap to reduce it to get under the salary cap that year. So they had a huge amount of roster turnover. Michael Thomas and their kicker, Will Lutz, didn't play a down for him that entire season.
Has Michael Thomas played it down for him yet?
Actually, I'm not even sure.
Then?
I'm not even sure. They actually had so many injuries that year. They set a record with 58 different starters that season, according to ESPN stats and info. That was the last season for Sean Payton. The offensive line was supposed to be the strength of the team, and they had multiple starters go down. They had Andrus Peat and Ryan Ramczyk, and they missed 25 games. They used 4 different starting quarterbacks and 10 different starting O-line combinations. And that total of 58 offensive and defensive starters doesn't include the 4 kickers they had to use. They used 4 kickers, they used 4 different quarterbacks, and 10 different starting offensive linemen had to deal with a hurricane, their franchise quarterback retiring, more injuries than any team in the NFL, and he still went 9-8. Damn near made the playoffs.
Yeah.
They was that close.
They were that close. That's right. I remember all of that.
Oh, man. Yeah, so I for the record, I think Sean Payton's a hell of a coach.
Yeah.
I do. I think he's going to be.
That's why I thought he was going to be the Cowboys coach.
He should have been. I don't know.
We
Jerry
were waiting on that. That's right.
Remember, Jerry tried to trade for Sean Payton.
Yes.
Remember the way it all went down. Pro Football Talk claims that at the time, because the ownership was the same as the ownership of the New Orleans Hornets. They're the same ownership at the time. And remember, right around the time that Jerry was trying to trade for Sean Payton, the ownership of both of those organizations, they traded Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
They traded Anthony Davis, and they believe, since the fans all knew, the ownership's the same, that the blowback from the fans would be something that they just could be unbearable.
It'll be detrimental to their organization.
You trade away Sean Payton, the Super Bowl winning coach, and then they're, the superstar on the NBA team. They basically turn against the whole family.
That's the Shohei Ohtani effect.
Yeah.
Can't get rid of him because now we're about to get rid of our entire organization. We done.
Yeah. So they tried. So Jerry tried, and at the time they declined the trade, I should say, because they said, man, we can't give away or at least trade away our Super Bowl winning coach and our superstar NBA player.
Trip.
So they tried. All right, we come back. We'll get into a little Astros Rangers. Rob Manfred signing an extension, and the Shohei Ohtani trade reportedly is off the table. All of that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie. Wonderful Nine Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. We know that our good friends over at Apple Leasing, trust me, they they're good friends of ours, but they want to be good friends of yours too. And you need friends like our friends over at Apple Leasing, because the car industry and the car business can be really confusing, and trying to find the perfect car for you and your family and your budget, that also can be a tiresome process. The stress of going to different dealerships, going to different car lots, trying to compare all the different prices, trying to make sure that the payment plan fits your budget, is compatible with your budget, trying to make sure you can get out of that bad lease and into a really simple interest easy lease from our friends at Apple Leasing. Well, our friends at Apple Leasing, they don't want you to deal with that stress. They don't want you to have to deal with that headaches. They know that there's a time-consuming process, and they don't want you to have to deal with it. All they want you to have to deal with is that brand new car smell. So what you do is call them, 512-346-9977. You reach out to them and give them all the information, the price, the payment you want, the car you want, and they'll do all the legwork. They'll handle all the stress. They'll handle all of the headaches, and all you get to do is enjoy that new car smell. Somebody who knows about that is my man, Mike Harge.
That's right. I know all about it, because every time I get ready to think about a new car, the first place I go is to appleleasing.com. That's right. Go to appleleasing.com and you can look and find any make or model. Even if they don't have it on the showroom floor or you don't see it on that website, all you got to do is tell them what you want, tell them the price range that you want it in, and they will find it for you. That's how easy it is. As my man Rob Babers was saying, it's a lot of time, it's real time consuming, and you don't have time to make it over there. You're looking and you're like, hey, I want this, I want that. Can you find the bells? Can you find the whistles? Can you get that for me? They do it for you. Whether it's pre-owned or luxury vehicle, they will come and handle it for you. Also, if you have a business and you need some fleet leasing, they have that for you as well. This is your one-stop shop. Go to appleleasing.com or give them a call, 512-346-9977, and they will make it worry-free. Everybody always talks about the leasing aspect of it. I don't know if it's enough. I drive a lot. Is there a plan for me? They will customize your plan to make it comfortable for you. And I am somebody that drives around town all the time, and I needed a car that I could be comfortable in, and I wanted to make sure that as I drive, I am easy to find, and Apple Leasing is that. Go to appleleasing.com or give them a call, 512-346-9977. And my man Scott Crossett always talks about leasing cars and making friends. Well, he wants you to be a friend, and, of course, you can lease a car as well. Go to appleleasing.com.
All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. New theme Thursday. That's obviously a sentimental new theme Thursday because it is the last new theme Thursday for Ball Don't Lie, and that is essentially the theme. It's about finales. It is about closure, the end of things, and all these songs reference that. The final countdown.
It's amazing. Great job again, Patrick,
This
as
is,
always, man.
Yeah, this is I don't know why, but this jam always puts you in like a mood, like an upbeat mood.
Yeah, ready to go.
I know. Makes you want to kind of run through a wall or something like that.
It's the fine when they start screaming. You know what I'm saying? I love it.
There you go. Thanks, my man Patrick. Always doing a great job for all of our musically themed days of the week. All right, let's start with some baseball, gentlemen. Let's start with the biggest story in baseball, in my opinion. Shohei Ohtani trade. And by the way, we got to mention what Shohei did today.
Yeah.
Before we
Definitely
bring up
give
the
him some
Shohei
love.
Ohtani trade. So they had a doubleheader today. And Shohei Ohtani, in game one of the doubleheader, he threw a complete game shutout.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the second game of the doubleheader, hit 2 home runs.
Yeah. He is not human. He is the alien that they found.
He's there.
Yeah.
Maybe he is one of the
He
aliens.
is one of the
Got
aliens.
some Men in Black type stuff going
It's
on
a
here.
complete game shutout. One hitter, I believe.
Yeah, one hitter.
He had 8 strikeouts in that
8
game.
Yeah.
Man, what is going on? And so, reportedly, and we don't know what's going on, the Angels, at least based on the recent reports, they have taken the Shohei Ohtani trade offers off the table. Apparently, they're not trading him. Remember, they also made a trade.
Mm-hmm.
They themselves actually made a trade. So not only are the Angels believing that they're going to try to keep Ohtani for this, I guess they're the wild card. They're 4 out
They're
of the
going to
wild
have
card.
to be for the wild card. It's definitely going to have to be.
So they think it's worth it to go, I don't know, kind of an all-in on trying to get this wild card spot rather than getting return on the investment they've made in Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah, I think that's it. I mean, with the pitcher that they went and got, I think that they're trying to shore that up because of the fact that Shohei is the only one that is pitching good for them right now. So you had to go out and get another arm, especially since you decided I'm not gonna get rid of him. I'm not giving up the farm for him to make sure that we can have something for later on. That's why all these other teams are like, nah, they're gonna have to take him off. And again, it may be a ploy. It may be saying we're gonna pull him off, and then somebody comes out with an unbelievable offer and say, all right, we need him. Something can happen this weekend because the trade deadline is August the 1st. So there will be some movement, a little bit of movement out there. I'm excited to see what's going to happen this weekend.
They're 3.5 games back. So I said before, they're 3.5 after the win.
in the wild card.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
wild card.
And
And they're playing now, so they're going to probably win again, and they'll still be able to be in that realm, I think, right? Or is it over?
I haven't checked on the actual because he left with a cramp, I think. In
Yeah,
game
he left.
two. He had a
Well,
cramp.
After he hit the home run. He
Well,
hurt his back.
Well, he's been carrying these mofos for so long,
There
but his
you
back
go.
ain't hurting.
Perfect example
Exactly.
of it.
Yeah, he walked out of that game just like he hits his second home run and just goes back and goes, my back's hurting. Why? He's like, because y'all ain't doing nothing.
Come on, man. So by the way, his league leading 38th home run. He hit 37 and 38 there. So I don't know why the Angels are not trying to. I know why, because they believe they can make a wild card. But the question is not can you make the wild card, is can you make a World Series run?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Sometimes
Because it's not worth keeping them just for a playoff run.
Baby
You want to try
steps.
to hit? I guess so.
Baby steps.
But man, if you lose Shohei Ohtani in free agency and get nothing in return, that will be one of the biggest. But I would say it would be one of the biggest indictments on a front office or a franchise in the history of Major League Baseball. How inept and dysfunctional they actually are.
And that goes to Patrick's point of how he's been thinking about this team and why aren't you getting rid of them? And the other part of it is I do believe they're making a strong enough push because if you're going to pay Anthony Rendon, who hasn't played hardly any games for you because he's always hurt, you definitely need to come up with the money to pay for Shohei Ohtani.
But that's the point. Is you're already paying Mike Trout tons of money, and you're paying Rendon a bunch of money, and you tried to sign other guys for a bunch of money. You could probably come up with it, and that may be really what it is too. Is that he feels he can get at least a couple investors and maybe put some other stuff and get a little bit more liquid to be able to offer something that Ohtani would stay, where he can go, up front, we'll give you this amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
That no one else can offer what we can give you up front.
Yeah.
And there could be something to that where he just thinks, hey, man, if you give me a little bit more time, I'll be able to come up with the money. But I don't.
Sounds like a bad deal.
It's a dangerous game. It's a dangerous game to play.
I agree, but because I
just
don't
need
have
a little
any
bit more
faith in
time.
this Angels organization to do the right thing. I think they'll throw all the money in the world at Shohei Ohtani. I just don't think that he's necessarily – I don't know why he would not sign an extension if he was really all in on this team.
Right.
If he says, I'm all in, go trade for other people, it's me and Mike Trout, we're going to win a World Series, then I figure he might allude to that a little bit more than, no, I want to go get fair market value. And, man, I can stay in the same town and go play for a much better team and make the same money and just go play for a much better team. Why am I staying here? Why am I staying at the little brother team?
Because the two people that you're talking about are not those guys. They don't care. They're having fun.
Yeah, Mike Trout's not that guy.
It may not be. But, and I mean, and then you go San Francisco will definitely put money in, and they're also right there in the wild card chase in the NL, so that's another team that could go all in for him. San Diego, they'd have to probably move off one of their guys if you can move off a guy there to open up some money for him. But they would be there's teams on the West Coast that would gladly have him.
Now I can't wait for the free agency frenzy for Shohei. That's going to be a wild ride. All right, I'll come back. We'll wrap it up, put it in the oven, let you know what's on tap right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Time to let you know what's on tap. Before we do that, you can go to hornfm.com and check out the podcast page. If you missed any part of any of the shows, please go there and check it out. All right, Harge, what's on tap for you for tonight?
I'm going to watch some soccer tonight. I've been having a lot of fun. We didn't get a chance to talk about the women's team. They tied last night. Some of the best moments in there, but watching it at the house with some soccer people is unbelievable because of the intensity of the game. And I can't wait to see what happens on Tuesday night when they play again against Portugal. But I'm going to watch some more soccer because I'm all in on the Women's World Cup, man. It's so much fun to watch.
My wife is too. She is. They have like little watch parties for all the games, and she was upset.
Yeah, everybody was
not happy.
Intense.
All right, Patrick, what's on tap for you, brother?
Going to check out my buddy Jelly Ellington playing a show at Meanwhile Brewing tonight.
Free show.
Jelly Ellington.
Jelly Ellington. Okay, I was like,
Jelly Ellington. He's playing free show. Meanwhile Brewing tonight, 8:30.
Free $99.
Free $99.
Your favorite price.
That's the best damn price you can get. All right.
What you got?
Man, I'm probably gonna watch some trash TV. I haven't caught up on my Naked and Afraid.
Okay.
My 90 Day Fiance. It's trash night tonight.
Okay.
Just going trash TV.
Trash it up.
Trash it up, man. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same channel. Remember, the revolution will not be televised. We're talking about it right here on Ball Don't Lie. We love you guys. We mean that. Take care of yourselves, but more importantly, take care of each other. Peace.